And if you can't believe it, it's a Friday once again.
Welcome on in, everybody. How is everybody doing today? Happy Friday. Let me turn on my light. It's fucking dark in here. Okay, that's a little bright. That's a little bright. Hold on. Hi, sleep tiny. Sleep tiny. Hi, tiny. Okay, I think it adjusted. Whatever, it's fine. Welcome on in to the Central Committee stream with your host Mike from PA. We are live. The vibes are immaculate. I just wanted to show you that Zohran Mamdani is exactly I believe we need to do. I think I've seen a few people being like, oh, you know, he's just gonna betray us, or and I want to say something that has been on my mind for a while about this topic of cynicism is the wide end of the conservative funnel. You know how I've talked about doomerism is the last stage of your liberalism before you are truly radicalized? I think that cynicism is the open end of the conservative funnel. Once you become cynical, once you believe that things can't change, when you stop talking about whether a policy is right or wrong morally, or it is plausible, like physically in material reality, when you stop talking about comparative politics and other examples where a policy was tried, and you just start talking about political plausibility and how it can't happen, and you just assert nakedly that the American people aren't ready for it yet, that is the wide end of the conservative funnel. Because once you start saying, well, we can't do that, we can't do this. Yes, it's possible. Yes, it's morally right. Yes, it's good public policy, but it's just not politically plausible. Once you start acting like that, you're already on the conservative mentality. And what conservative mentality is that there's not enough to go around. That we have to pick and choose who we give resources to, and there are winners and there are losers. That is conservative mentality. And once you start doing that, once you start falling down that path of no longer trying to do what's right and what is good, but rather what is convenient, you will start making those cold-hearted decisions where you're like, well, that person is innocent, but I'm more closely related to X, therefore I'm going to give resources to X, even if this other person suffers. That is the path of conservatism. And it's quite frankly not true. I want you to understand that this is not true. That when you care for the least, it actually raises everybody up. We've seen it time and time again. I'll give you an example. Finland. Finland's education system is considered the best in the world. They do not allow you to charge tuition for private schools in Finland. Every school is a good school in Finland. And that's how they went from being like 35th in education, right here with the United States, to number 1. Because when they aimed for equity, they got excellence. That's the funny thing. The United States were so eager to pour more resources on those that are already thriving, because we assume those that are failing because of their own merit. But what they found in Finland is when they aimed at raising up the bottom, raising up everyone, they actually got way more excellence than they expected, because you never know where an excellent student is going to come from. There was all this untapped potential among the poor and the working class that never were given a shot. And now that they now achieved excellence. And that's how society functions. When you aim for dignity, when you aim for fairness, when you aim for justice, you get excellence. You get progress. It is not stagnation. It is not, you know what actually gets you stagnation? When you pour more money on the fortunate, when you give more money to the rich, when you take money from the poor, that's when you get stagnation. Austerity is stagnation. Equity is excellence. And I think this is an idea that if you're not aware of these facts, or you're not aware of this, you can easily fall down the rabbit hole of trying to do triage. You know, this is how you get people to think like a conservative. If you want people to think like a conservative, if you want people to think like a right winger, you have to put them in fight or flight mode. You have to put them in survival mode. You have to put them in triage mode. We are not in triage mode. We are not in fight or flight mode. We are in a modern industrial society with tremendous resources. The problems that we have is it's not that we don't know how to cure disease. It's not that we don't know how to feed the hungry. It's that we have uneven development in this world. We have unequal distribution of the bounty of human ingenuity. That is the problem with our world. It is not technology. It is political will and greed. If you don't agree with me on this, then you are a right-winger. Fundamentally, you are a right-winger because the facts are clear. So what are we talking about today? Just some thoughts. Sorry for rants off the morning before I explain anything, but I've been pondering a lot about what makes people conservative, and I think it's an emotional state. Nelk is interviewing Netanyahu, which is very funny because the podcast bros. Did you guys see this podcast, bro? Hold on, let me show you this. It's so funny because yesterday somebody said something to me about like, I can't believe you're yelling at Natalie and not talking about the podcast bros. And I said, like, Theo Vaughn. And I said, like, the podcast bros are just earnest dipshits. And they're infinitely more persuadable than like somebody like Ethan Klein. And then this happened the very next day.
The only party right now that to me seems America first is the Democrat Socialist Party.
Yep.
Bernie is America first. Mamdani and all his ideas that he will not be able to execute, and I frankly think many of them are not good ideas, but he is no doubt New York first. The policies seem to want to help people here. That's what I care about. If MAGA wants to take this America first thing back, they got to start looking out for America. And it doesn't seem like they're doing. Lying to Americans is not America first. There is one lie, which is Epstein did not have a blackmail ring on all these very influential people. And by saying that that didn't happen, you have to tell a lot of other little lies. Every one of them just pulls a little piece of thread away from the fabric. And we're starting to see right through right now, and it's just embarrassing.
Now he's dumb as fuck.
Only
But a lot of people have dumb as fuck beliefs. Welcome to politics. Welcome to fucking politics. And the video I showed you of Zohran to start the stream where he said like, hey, we go to where the people are, but we don't leave behind the issues where they're not there yet. We advocate and we change their minds. Yes, he's dumb as fuck, but this is incredibly good propaganda for us. He's dumb as fuck, but it's great propaganda for us. The other thing is, clearly, lean into the Epstein shit. Lean into the Epstein shit. Like, duh. I've said this before, but if you want a successful left wing, you need to have a little bit of conspiracy theories going with it. You need to have a little bit of the fun. It has to be a little bit of fun. You got to have your JFK assassination theories. You got to have your, State Department CIA coup shit. You got to have the Epstein is linked to Mossad, blackmail shit. You got to have fun shit. You have to have fun stuff going on. You have to have a little bit of conspiracy theory going on. Now, I personally don't like making shit up. That's total bullshit. But I said you got to feed people some interesting candy. And there's plenty of, it just so happens that there's a lot of it to go around. There's a lot of stuff that's based in fact. So when I saw this clip, it was so funny because it was another Mike was instantaneously right moment, because I said this yesterday about how the earnest podcast bros are more persuadable than someone like Ethan Klein. And some liberal was malding, and I was like, no, that's true. And then this immediately pops. So let me see if I can find it. Oh no, I can't find. I might have to search. I tweet too much, chat. Which reminds me, I posted on TikTok. By the way. Damn, Mike has almost 12k subs. Thank you, Ethan Klein. Yes, I do. Is my sub count working? Can you guys all sub and see if the sub counter is working? Because it seems like it's broken to me, and I don't know why. It was broken for like a week, and then it fixed itself. Yeah, it's fucking broken. God, this is so fucking annoying, man. All right, can you guys keep subbing? Try primes. Try using primes. Try resubbing. Try gifting. Try tier 3s. Yeah, see, it's not fucking work. Like, look at this shit. It's fucking broken. All right, here, let me find my shit. Oh, that reminds me. I posted on TikTok yesterday, chat, and it's blowing up. I already have 20,000 likes or 20,000 views.
Yeah, I probably caused the Contrapoints meltdown and her exposure as a mask-off Zionist.
Let me show you what happened. It all started when a fan asked Contrapoints, hey, are you going to make an Israel-Palestine video? And she replied and said, never. Y'all would fucking hate it. And I saw that. And so I took a screenshot, posted on Twitter, and I said, is this Contrapoints coming out in favor of Israel's genocide in Gaza? I'm legitimately at a loss for what this could mean without that conclusion. So I hopped into her replies and I said, hey, Natalie, question. Would you consider yourself a liberal Zionist? And this happened almost instantly, which was kind of a surprise. I mean, I asked a straightforward question. I was curious what her response would be, and I just didn't want any room for ambiguity, so I asked a straightforward question. It's very weird to react to a straightforward question by somebody who used to be a supporter of hers. I have been for a long time, and I got this response. So it kind of pissed me off. The context is really important here because Zohran Mamdani had just won the New York City mayoral election, and there was this huge wave of Islamophobic hate where they tried to accuse him of being anti-Semitic because he said that he only believes in, nation states with equal rights for all, and he was not going to visit Israel, and he would arrest Benjamin Netanyahu. And so there's a huge wave of implication that he was an anti-Semite. And so it was really weird because Natalie started to promote the idea that anti-Semitism on the left was a huge problem. Taylor Lorenz jumped into the thread and she said, not going to litigate this video, but I think that when making claims like 50% of the discourse on this app is Jew hate, it's extremely important to note that 99.9% of anti-Semitism on this app is from the far right, actual neo-Nazis who Musk has embraced, not communist TikTokers. And Natalie said, leftist in the anti-Semitism has always been a thing. I don't see what is gained in denying it. This is kind of where we left it, which was, okay, Contrapoints is joining with a bunch of establishment Democrats to smear Zohran Mamdani with all these implications about how widespread left-wing anti-Semitism is, and blocked me for asking if she considered herself a liberal Zionist. It was pretty clear that she was a liberal Zionist and, for the most part, is opposed to anybody who is pro-Palestine. Before anyone jumps in the comments and says, she's just a liberal who's opposed to all forms of bigotry, no results for Islamophobia really says it all. I mean, you have Representative Randy Find, a notorious Zionist congressman, calling for the deportation of Ilhan Omar. You have Donald Trump calling for the deportation of Zohran Mamdani. You have all sorts of fascist, anti-democratic, Islamophobic attacks happening. We have centrist Democrats making these implications, and Contrapoints has nothing to say. So to surface some obscure, content creator and accuse him of anti-Semitism as a way of indicting the entire left during that context shows you exactly what she believes, exactly where she stands, and it is what it is. I'm sorry, but we all have to move beyond Contrapoints, and I want to urge you right now, unsubscribe. Yeah, I probably...
Your hair looks good in that TikTok? That's what my hair looks like. See... The thing is, this is called natural light, chat. That's all this is. This is just natural light. So that's it. So you get good, like right now, you're not really getting, this is like, you're getting like a light, an artificial light. So it's not really hitting. It's like, it's not reflecting the same way. It's also putting a warm colors on my hair as opposed to like the full white of the sun. Let me change the warmth of my lamp. Let's make it more blue. I don't know, or cooler, as they say.
Meltdown.
I'm gonna release that on YouTube right now. Should we let chat pump it? Sure. But the more important thing is to pump me on TikTok, because that algorithm actually wants me to succeed, as opposed to the YouTube algorithm, which does not. I mean, let's just be honest, okay? The YouTube algorithm does not want left-wing content. It suppresses it. It's just an objective fact. Even more so than Twitter, to be honest. Zohran Mamdani got more votes in one city than Dean Phillips got in all 50 states. Also, I found the post, man. I want to show you what Mike is right. This is what my life is like. This is what my life is like, okay? So I made Hassan Piker was in Time Magazine's top 100 online creators list, right? And I posted Ethan Klein meltdown incoming, because that's called easy engagement bait, and also happens to be true. And somebody named Robot Gospel anime avatar, and then 24 hours later you'll be having your own meltdown about Theo and Joe being included while saying the same sort of things Ethan says about Hassan with zero shred of self-awareness. And I said, LOL, why would I? They're just earnest podcast bros who will probably tack left soon. Wonder why nobody takes y'all seriously. Somehow Ethan Klein is more harmful than Joe Rogan and co, who directly helped Trump get elected. So transparent. Ethan is 100% less persuadable than Theo Vaughn. And then people are like, you gotta log off, man. And I said, I think that's you, brother. And then what happens? The very next day, so that was July 9th. Podcast bros, tack left soon. July 9th. July 10th.
The only party right now that to me seems America first is the Democrat Socialist Party.
Yep.
Bernie is America first. Mamdani and all his ideas that he will not be able to execute, and I frankly think many of them are not good ideas, but he is no doubt New York first. The policies seem to want to help people here. That's what I care about. If MAGA wants to take this America First thing back, they got to start looking out for America. And it doesn't seem like they're doing. Lying to Americans is not America First. There is one lie, which is Epstein did not have a blackmail ring on all these very influential people. And by saying that that didn't happen, you have to tell a lot of other little lies. Every one of them just pulls a little piece of thread away from the fabric. And we're starting to see right through right now, and it's just embarrassing.
Now, I've seen people be like, free buses is not the program I would do if I were designing my transit system. But it's like, you're stupid. It's not just free buses, it's fast and free, which means they want to increase the how the buses get around, their decreased dwell times, increased frequency. He wants to make them all better as well as being free. All right. And the total cost of his program is $700 million a year in the richest city in the richest country in the world. It's that simple. And there's arguments for like, well, maybe you could get a little bit more money if you have some fares, and maybe we can means test and blah, 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 blue. But the idea that it's some sort of like unaffordable, impossible idea is just nonsense. It's idiotic nonsense. Of course we can. Of course we can. And making it free will let people ride the bus more. We'll get people out of cars and off the street into the bus. That's good. That's a good policy. Now, maybe making it totally fare free wouldn't be the very top of my list, but it's not the very top of his list either. It's just part of his list. And distributionally, the program will help poor people, super targeted relief to poor people. Who do you think rides the bus the most? Poorer people. So when you make buses free, you're giving more assistance directly to poor people. It's a redistribution. So positive redistributional effects are a bonus. So it's like one of those things where you can kind of see how stupid someone is by their reaction to free buses. If they think it's ridiculous or some sort of super damaging or impossible thing, they're actually dumb. They're actually a dumb motherfucker. Showing that our ideas work in our biggest city will be a generational shift in thinking for regular folks. I actually love the idea that people think that what he's proposing are hard to do. They're not. They're absolutely not. Rent freeze, free buses, not hard at all. And that's 2 out of 3 of his promises. And they're incredibly basic and easy. It's the free childcare that's going to require a very big push. And that's going to be hard to do. But it's not like it's hard to do physically and materially. It's actually incredibly easy to do. It's just a matter of passing the program, funding it, and then executing it well, which requires a lot of work. And there's a lot of, that's hard. It's hard to create a new program and have it run well. But it's not like it doesn't exist. I mean, in fucking Sweden, they have basically free childcare. Now, they charge like, I think it's $100 a month. I think it's capped at $100 a month. Let me look that up. I don't want to fire from the hip. What is the cost of childcare capped in Sweden? Sweden per month. So it is 1,382 SEK. So the SEK is like, I think it's like, that's like 10 per dollar or something. $144. So I said it was $100. It's $144. So in Sweden, it's pretty much free, but you have to pay a small fee of $144 a month. It's called the universal childcare, but it's also capped at 3% of your gross income. So if your gross income is $0, then it's completely free. But for the richest motherfucker in the planet, it's $144 a month. So all the ideas that Zohran's coming out with are very fucking easy ideas. They're not hard. They're actually incredibly simple, and they exist, and it works really fucking well. So anybody saying these are not good ideas, are you stupid? Are you incapable of like actually doing any study? Of course they are great ideas. New York City DSA leadership Nicole Murray hates free fares and is rat fucking from the inside. I think it's fine. I think it's fine to think that free fares are you know, maybe we should keep a very low fare. I think that's a public policy disagreement. That is not a sign that you're an idiot. However, read the fucking room. Read the fucking room. Maybe in your ideal society, you would have like low enforcement, low fares that are heavily subsidized, and we have all sorts of, you know, I get it. I really get it. But read the fucking room. We're campaigning. Fast and free instantly sticks into your mind. Like, shut the fuck up. What is your counter to the argument that China is fascist or that China has mastered fascism? I think my counter to that argument would be, hold on. I actually have a clip that I play for this. Whenever I encounter arguments that sound like that. Hold on one second. Okay, did we scare the anarchists off? Okay. I think we scared them off. Guys. This is fascism, guys. This is what they think perfecting fascism is. Hold on.
Capture technologies. We should endeavor to build a green, clean, and beautiful world. The Earth is the only shared home for humanity. Now, a few individuals are trying to find a new home in outer space, but that is still a distant dream. In the foreseeable future, human beings still need to live on this planet. This is a fact that will not change. We must defend the Earth's boundaries, both tangible and intangible, to ensure harmony between humanity and nature. We need to improve planning regarding our territorial space, implement our functional zoning strategy, and draw up red lines for ecological conservation. We should accelerate efforts to establish a system of nature reserves, improve biodiversity protection networks, and set reasonable spatial limits for economic and social activities. We will never again seek economic growth at the cost of the environment.
Guys, this is super fascist.
Foundations of a market without moral constraints. The growing gap between rich and poor is both unfair and unsustainable. It is important for us to use both the invisible hand and the visible hand to form synergy between market forces and government functions, and strive to achieve both efficiency and fairness.
Prioritizing green development, reining in capital, never fighting a war of aggression in 40 years. Yeah, that's fascism, guys. Fascism is when you win to an anarchist. Anarchy is about being a really photogenic loser, getting defeated really epically, going down in glorious defeat. What they don't like about China is the winning part.
Force must be met with force, and evict in 40s and foreign invaders, notably during the Second Sino-Japanese War. In building the People's Liberation Army, the party recognized the importance of military strength and leadership. As Xi Jinping states, while it was engaged in violent struggle, the party came to recognize the irrefutable truth that it must command the gun and build a people's military of its own. Chinese people learned that it was an imperative to send the aggressors a message they would understand. War must be fought to deter aggression. Force must be met with force, and a victory is the best way to win peace and respect. We Chinese people do not provoke others, nor do we shy away from trouble. We do not give in to fear or yield in the face of difficulties and dangers. The Chinese nation will never cower before threats or be subdued by oppressors. By 1949, the communist victory in the Chinese Civil War and the establishment of the People's Republic of China marked the triumph of Marxism-Leninism in China and validated...
So the idea, I mean, the reason why I bring this up, why I'm bringing Xi Jinping quotes up, is because it's just laughably stupid. It's to the point where if you say stuff like that, honest to God, I don't think you can read. Legitimately, I don't think you can read. It's like, oh my God, they have a military and they did a march. They marched. That means it's fascism. And it's like, China has, how many different recognized, like ethnicities? I think it's like, how many recognized ethnicities in China? 56 ethnic groups. So 55 distinct minority groups. There is like, it's just Western cope. And like, basically the person is telling on themselves that they're an anti-left winger because they don't think the left can ever win. So when they go like, actually China's fascist, they're just making shit up because they hate the left. And they're trying to cope with the idea like, oh, fuck, a left-wing group is winning. I need to make up a take on why that's bad. And listen, it's not to say that China does everything right. No, of course it doesn't. They have a lot of things that I don't agree with. But the idea that they're right wing is just laughably fucking stupid. Laughably fucking stupid. It is a left wing government. Now, there's a lot of problems with it, and that you should learn from that. You should go, okay, just because something's left wing doesn't mean it's gonna be free from error. Even literal fascist scholars like Jason Stanley would laugh at these anarchists. It's not even a tanky argument. Yeah, it's not tanky. I mean, it's just common sense. We should not shrink from the reality that China is left wing. It is. Now, I wish it was more left wing. I wish they would do more shit. I wish they were a little less gradual in a lot of the programs. Is the 995 critique relevant? Yes, but it's also something that China is cracking down on. So it's like one of those things that is actually a major focus. Same thing with building social and public housing. That's another thing they're working on. I mean, they just did an anti-poverty program that lifted 800 million people out of poverty. Like, they have the receipts. Literally, the father of fascism, Mussolini, said fascism should be called corporatism as the government serves, marries big business. China specifically doesn't allow business interests to rise above governance, of course. And like, there is some more subtle, there is a lot of stuff we could say about what are the risks with the Chinese form of government. I think there's a lot of power in Xi Jinping's hands, which Xi Jinping is a good leader for his country. But if that power falls into the hands of somebody who is not so good, it could be a major risk. Right now, the Chinese Communist Party is incredibly effective, but it may be too reliant on him. But that's just an outsider's perspective. I don't really know. I'm not Chinese. I can't speak Mandarin. So like, my analysis is always going to be mediated through others. What would China do to billionaires like this?
Katsamatidis, a Republican who's supporting Mayor Adams in his re-election campaign, compares Mamdani to socialist and communist authoritarians like Hugo Chavez and Fidel Castro, alleging Mamdani's plan would hurt grocery store owners and employees. But when asked to explain how, he struggles to give specifics.
Can you speak more specifically to how they will harm your stores and others?
Information about the CPC are literally just State Department shills.
You're not Chinese? I thought you were Chinese.
From Long Island.
Long Island? I thought I was getting advice from a Chinese woman.
I'm sorry.
That changes everything. What? She's not Chinese. I was duped.
So what? She's still getting advice. What's the difference if she's not Chinese?
I'm not taking advice from some girl from Long Island.
Wait a minute, you're not?
She's right, though. She's kind of right, though. Brianna Wu. Oh, my God. That's Brianna Wu. Oh, no. New Gallup poll. 30% say immigration should be reduced, down from 55% last year. 79% say immigration is a good thing for the country, all-time high. And 17% say it's a bad thing, all-time low. So in other words, chat, the Democratic Party is fucking worthless. And the left online and in the streets actually protested ICE and protested against what Donald Trump was doing. And what do you know? Opinions changed. Democrats sat out and did nothing like fucking losers. And we went out onto the streets and we were out there on social media and left-wing politicians were running around fighting ICE like Zohran Mamdani. And would you look at that? Immigration is more popular than ever. The left is winning. Please tell me whether you strongly favor, oppose, or strongly oppose each of the following proposals. Allowing immigrants who were brought to the U.S. illegally as children the chance to become U.S. citizens if they meet a certain requirements over a period of time. 85% support for a pathway of citizenship for dreamers. Allowing immigrants living in the U.S. illegally the chance to become U.S. citizens if they meet... This is illegal immigrants pathway to citizenship. 78%. This is the far left position. Hiring significantly more border patrol agents, down 17 points to 59, which, of course, denying alleged gang members living in the U.S. illegally the ability to challenge their deportation in court, 50% support. So even the most ridiculously framed up question, people still support it. Plurality. Significantly expanded the construction of walls along the U.S.-Mexico border, 45% for build the wall. Deporting all immigrants who are living in the U.S. illegally back to their home country, only 38% support. So 85% support for pathway to citizenship, 38% support for mass deportation. At a certain point, can we stop pretending like Democrats have to be right-wing in order to win? They want to be right-wing. View of Donald Trump's support of handling by immigration. Independents strongly disapprove 45%, disapprove 24%. So that's 69% disapprove among independents. Among Democrats, only 2% approve. 98%, 97% disapprove. 81% strongly disapprove. Even among Republicans, he has 15% disapproval or no opinion. Like, this is basically only Republicans agree with it. Everyone else hates it. It's like, give me a fucking break, man. Wait, this guy blocked me? He must be this guy. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. He's a John Fetterman central. Okay, he's supporting. Wait a minute. This guy's a fucking moron. He's reposting John Fetterman alums and Che Osi. This guy's a fucking idiot. What did I say to this guy? I must have said something mean to this guy because he's a fucking idiot. Holy shit. Hold on. I have to know. Oh, he just blocked me. I didn't say anything mean to him. We need drop site polls. I legitimately, chat, I'm going to do it. I want to become the pollster of drop site news. Che Ose. I can't pronounce words and names. Don't expect that.
So in the wake of Zohran Mamdani's Democratic primary victory.
We've just been rambling, but we have a lot of stuff to cover. All right. Badempanada has dropped the content poop. It is 2 hours long of Ethan Klein. The Ethan Klein content poop. Chris Kunzler just dropped Ethan Klein's miserable world of misogyny as well. So we had a double. The anti-Ethan Klein industrial complex is starting up. Now, I will absolutely not be watching that. I put Ethan Klein content poop into my title just to bait people and see if people actually want me to watch it. I'm doing a little bit of A/B testing. I might watch this if it's like, if people are like, please watch this. I might just watch a section of it just for fun. Mike, you gotta see this from France. It's crazy. It happens. France's parliament has just produced an extraordinary 153-page report that calls for nothing less than a complete strategic realignment of Europe. The document systemically dismantles the EU's current geopolitical positioning, vassalized the US, in the report's words, as a catastrophic failure that has led to the US seeing its influence diminished and its interests poorly protected. Their economy has been flat for 20 years. Like, if you're a Euro person, your economy has not grown since 2008. Like, you need to get rid of aligning with the US. Like, you are actually being impoverished. It's destroying Europe. 50 recommendations. The creation of a common world currency. De-dollarize the global economy. Replacing the EU strategy in the Indo-Pacific region with a cooperative approach, including China. In general, the report's central recommendation is that Europe break free from Atlantic subordination and instead achieve strategic autonomy by partnering with China. I mean, that is... It's right. It's right. All right, chat. Let's so I feel like I pretty much covered Contrapoints as well. That was my other bait topic. I don't really care. Like, is there more that I need to say? Like, I mean, I guess I could go. I did a whole breakdown of her statement yesterday. I think we're going to be posting that probably in the next day or two, hopefully soon as possible, on the YouTube, so you'll have something to reference. But I really, I just find her boring and mediocre at this point. Is BreadTube toast? BreadTube has been toast for a long time. They just stopped making content. They got comfortable. They made a lot of money. And then they just stopped making content. Like, what do you want me to say? It's just not relevant. You know what I mean? Like, that's why I love streaming. I love being a streamer because it forces me to make content. It forces me to actually show up every day. And you know what? I like that. I, honest to God, would not want to just be collecting, say, 20 grand a month in Patreon money, doing nothing. I actually would hate that. I like the fact that I have to show up. I like the fact that I have to talk to you guys and we have to, you know, deal with what's happening in reality and actually come up with political analysis every day. Like, I don't want their life. I could never be somebody who is just completely idle. Just weird. And just so you know, chat, the centrists are not consolidating. Zohran's gonna win. The centrists are not consolidating. They threw everything against the wall. It did not stick. Eric Adams and Andrew Cuomo are both really bad candidates, but they're also strong enough that no one can force them out. So it's just, they don't have an alternative. And the Republican is an egomaniac freak, so he's not dropping out. They just can't do anything. I actually think Mamdani is going to win such a landslide. People are going to be absolutely fucking floored.
From the November election, but interest in the New York City mayor's race is heating up this summer. To talk more about the biggest headlines and the latest polling numbers, we welcome J.C. Polanco, assistant professor at the University of Mount St. Vincent. Good to see you, J.C. Thanks so much for talking with us today. We appreciate it. Let's talk about the latest ranked choice results. Zohran Mamdani, already the definitive Democratic winner, got another feather in his cap this week. He officially earned the most votes of any candidate in primary history. So give us your reaction to that, and how do you think that translates to the November election?
Well, a couple of things. This is only the second time we've had ranked choice voting. So if you recall, all of the votes tally, and they add up in a big pool at the very end. So yes, Assemblyman Mamdani had the most votes in history, but that's because we have a very different election where your votes for someone else counts for you as the later rounds go out. So asterisk to that little figure in the history books. Having said that, he's a juggernaut. Look, we have never seen...
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. In fact, that gives him more cred because it's provable that those people voted for him. Like, they voted for him. By ranking him above the other people, that's voting for him. That means he has even more of a mandate. Like, that's the point of ranked choice voting, is that the person that has the support of the majority is the one who wins, not somebody who wins just because of vote splitting. But people have to affirmatively give the candidate that wins a majority. So he has a mega landslide mandate. When you get 56% of the vote in a contested primary, that's a mandate. That's a crushing victory. He was outspent by a guy with higher name recognition. That is an actual Mamdani 8.
Anything like this before. 25% of all new voters at the Democratic primary were new voters.
Which just so happens to be what I went on last night with your mom. A mom date.
Many credit the Assemblyman's campaign for bringing in these new young voters into the rolls to vote for him. He had 100,000 workers out there, volunteers that hit the streets. And he was seen as a happy warrior. It's the same kind of...
I love that my analysis of like January is now going mainstream. It's like direct quotes from me are now, after the election, you know what I mean? Are now going mainstream. January 17th. Zohran has really good happy warrior vibes. I hope this campaign has legs. Also, chat, there's something about my channel, which is like the more of a banger my post is, the less likes it will get. Like the more it is going to happen, the less likes it will get. Only my dumb bullshit posts get a lot of traction. The more I'm right, the less visibility it gets, which is awesome because then I could go and show it to you later.
Energy that we're still seeing now on social media, as we talk to people in the streets, as the press is covering him. He's a juggernaut. He has social media covered. He has excitement covered. And it's almost like a perfect storm for all of the other folks in New York City because Democratic elected officials have to line up behind their candidate. We saw it with the Brooklyn chairwoman. We saw it with the Manhattan Democrats and powerful chairman Keith Wright lined up. And then when you question about the Jewish issue, it's always been an issue for Assemblyman Mamdani, not condemning the term worldwide intifada, some of his past statements on Israel, BDS, for example, things that concern a lot of people in New York City, considering that we have the highest number of Jews outside of Israel. It seems as nothing is resonating. And Congressman Nadler, the chair of the Jewish caucus in Congress, is now supporting the Assemblyman. And now you have controllers, well, future controller Mark Levine, current Manhattan Borough president, also supporting him. And the latest, many of the business journals across New York are reporting that business leaders, major CEOs, have recognized that it is likely that the assemblyman, considering the divided opposition, is going to win in November, that they're now ready to meet with him and talk about their concerns. So it's almost as if everyone is falling in line. And the opposition hasn't figured it out, Mary. There is no way to defeat Assemblyman Mamdani with 5 other candidates running in opposition.
And he's been talked about across the country. President Trump, known for speaking his mind. Here's what he had to say recently about the Democratic nominee.
It's a disaster. He's leading. He's got the Democrat nomination because that shows you where the Democrats have gone. I'll say it again. We're not going to have, if a communist gets elected to run New York, it can never be the same, but we have tremendous power at the White House to run places when we have to.
How might comments like these from the president influence voter behavior, do you think?
Kiss of death, terrible. If you're in the opposition of a Democratic socialist becoming mayor of New York City, every time the president makes comments like this, comments about deporting him, comments about his looks, it just emboldens Assemblyman Mamdani and his campaign, because for every one of those comments, he gains about another 100 independent voters. If the president does not want to see a socialist become mayor of New York City, exit stage left right about now. You're doing no one any services.
And looking ahead, with Andrew Cuomo seeming to hold his ground against Eric Adams, any thoughts on how that matchup might shake out and how that might influence the election, or what might we see in the next few weeks?
Mary, that's a great question. If you take a look at the recent polls, and we're going to see a lot of them, Mary, you're going to see them, they continue to show that Assemblyman Mamdani, although a juggernaut, exciting, and everyone is lining up behind him, has a cap, and that's around 36% as of right now. Meaning that if the opposition were to unite, in theory, that there's a chance that an opponent can defeat Assemblyman Mamdani on the issue.
There is absolutely no chance that that's correct. That's absolutely 0% chance that this is correct. In fact, I will be taking bets. If anybody wants to say to me that Eric Adams or Andrew Cuomo is going to win, I will take bets at even money, uncapped. Now, that being said, you're going to have to give it to you're going to have to immediately put the money down, and it has to go to an escrow. I'm not going to think you're good for it. If you're dumb enough to make that bet, you have to give up the money immediately to a third party. Mamdani's main issue is, I want you guys to understand this, name recognition. Regular people do not pay attention to primaries. I know. It's a surprise to hear, because for those of us that are interested in politics, it's like, how could you not know who Zohran Mamdani is? A lot of people have no idea who he is. In fact, I would say at least half the country, if not more, have never heard his name at all. Name recognition is very hard. I would say 40% of the country has no idea who AOC is, really. Okay? The only people that have universal name recognition are people like Donald Trump, Bernie, because they ran multiple nationwide campaigns and were talked about by everyone nonstop. It's very hard to get everybody to know who you are. So Mamdani has not crossed that threshold, right? He may be famous, and he is famous, but he doesn't have universal name recognition, which is his main issue now. His main issue to win, all Zohran, and if you are a leftist, I want to explain something to you. All Zohran has to do is consolidate the Democratic Party support, and he will win. So he's going to spend his time going around to the Democratic Party and forcing people to bend the knee, because he already has enough independent support. He already has enough, all those shit. He will 100% win if he just goes around and picks up all the labor unions, if he picks up all the Democratic, organizations that are grassroots led. That's what he's focusing on right now, because that's how he wins. The most important thing to do with a race is to win the race. Did you see he hired Dems staffer? Of course. I don't know if people don't know this, but there are leftists that work for the Democratic Party. There are leftists who work for the Democratic Party. And what left-wingers will do is go around and they will elevate those people who are working for the Democrats for whatever fucking dumb reason. This happens all the time. This is actually what success looks like, is finding people that ally with you. And there are people who work for people that kind of suck that are pretty decent themselves. The important thing is to look at what the candidate is saying and doing, and whether he is getting rid of his old supporters. Those are the red flags. It's not like, oh, he fired this guy, or sorry, he hired this guy who once worked for Andrew Cuomo in 2007. Like, that is called consolidating. Did you see the AFL-CIO Philly quote tweet Fetterman? Oh yeah. The Philly AFL-CIO quote tweeted Fetterman saying, ICE performs an important job for our country. Any calls to abolish ICE are 100% inappropriate and outrageous. That's the kind of shit we need.
Issues, which is what's concerning, whether it's the socialist agenda, what rent freezes would mean for housing supply in New York. I mean, all of the issues that are concerning a lot of New Yorkers. The problem is that they're strongly divided, and it appears that none of them is about to drop out of this race. So it's almost a fait accompli. It's almost like it's over. It's almost like Assemblyman Mamdani should just be measuring the drapes, unless the 5 candidates that are currently running realize that this is just an impossibility to run on your own as an independent. Look, Mary, real quick, the last time we had an independent mayor was Mayor Bloomberg. Mayor Bloomberg was, in fact, a Republican, left the party, became an independent, and ran for re-election as an incumbent mayor. He realized that even with an unlimited amount of resources, including $300 million, that it would be an impossibility to run without a major party line. So as an independent, having left the Republican Party, asked the Republicans to support his campaign so that he can get that line. And he was able to win re-election. Consider that. And now you're telling me that you have 5 different candidates running on all these lines that are going to stop a juggernaut like Assemblyman Mamdani and seeing people lined up? I just think it's an impossibility. And it's time that somebody that knows math starts talking to them, because the math ain't mathing, Barry.
Well, it's so good to talk to you, JC Polanco, as always. Thanks so much for giving us your thoughts this morning.
Zohran Mandami's 2014 incel screed. He's hot. Libertarian pedophile. Everybody who's a libertarian is a pedophile, by the way. Especially if they identify as a libertarian, they are a pedophile 100% of the time. I have never met anybody who identifies as a libertarian who I didn't later learn some sort of sus sexual attraction toward children. 100% of the time. 100% of the time. I mean, Vosh used to go around saying he was a libertarian socialist. What do you think he was thinking about when he said he was libertarian? I grew a beard only to be called a terrorist. I pronounce the H in my name only to hear muffled laughs. Clothing becomes exotic once it clads my body. Cotton shirts are called dashikis and my sandals ethnic. While I am now comfortable in my own skin, I can remember wishing for whiteness my first year when I thought certain type of girls were impossible to talk to my skin being more kiwi than peach. Months later, I remember thinking that attraction might only be possible when a girl had a thing for brown guys. Okay, let me get this straight. When he was 22 in college, he felt out of place because he wasn't white. That's it. That's incel? The problem with trying to call him an incel is he's hot and he has a hot wife. Good luck with that. Good luck with that strategy. Political strategists and financiers say the opening weeks of the general election have been chaotic. They complain the anti-Mamdani bulwark lacks a positive message and a candidate and enough voters to win. They worry the flood of outside money could backfire and make voters suspicious of special interests. Okay, so I want to translate this to you as a former political consultant. What they're saying here is donors don't think any of the candidates can win, so they don't want to waste their money. So they're coming up with bullshit like outside money could backfire. They never say this because it's not true. As much as we on the left want people to be pissed off when somebody spends money on ads, they aren't. For some reason, people just, they don't, the ads don't backfire. They do not backfire. In fact, people believe what you say in the ads. This is a reality that a lot of people hate to hear, but it is true. The reason why advertising exists is because it works. If you think advertising doesn't work on you, you're dead fucking wrong. Or the type of advertising that works on you, you don't even recognize as advertising. Like, for example, you watch a Northern Lion stream and he's playing some cool indie game. And you're like, wow, I'm going to go get that indie game. Congratulations. You were just guerrilla marketed to, bitch. The bald got you. It happens to be all the time. There's another content creator named Quill18 who's like this progressive strategy game. Like, that's why I like him. Quill18 is like, if you want a strategy game content creator who's like left wing and very like good vibes, there's a guy named Quill18 who plays like almost all of the strategy games. So if you like paradox games but you don't want a crypto fash playing it, Quill 18 is great. Anyway, Quill 18 is the single, like, I used to watch that guy all the time for strategy recommendations. I bought more games after he played them than anyone else. That was advertising, bitch. Are you doing an ad for him? No, I'm just saying, like, if you want to if you're a strategy gamer and you don't want to support a crypto fash, that's a person to watch. Now, I don't think he's as left wing as me, but that's fine. Like, that's fine. He's just he's not like a political guy. He's just like, he has left wing politics and he mentions it offhandedly, but it's not like he's a normie left winger, not like me. He's normal. Northern Lion is crypto fash? No, Northern Lion is he's crypto Marxist. Northern Lion is crypto Marxist. He's one of our ops.
How do you feel about the inevitable end of capitalism due to labor value dropping to zero? I'm actually, it might surprise you. I'm with you, man. Not to pander, but like doing shit seems like it's not in an advantageous position versus like having shit right now. Like capital is OP compared to labor right now. It's all bullshit, man. Always has been? I don't know, maybe. I mean, back in like the year negative 10,000, doing shit was probably like really highly valued. You'd be like, okay, you got 6 blueberries. I'm doing shit. I took your blueberries. Labor beats capital in that situation, I suppose. Listen, being breaded is sick, but at the same time, it seems crazy that, like, you know, like, don't get me wrong, like, it works. I'm being careful here, but it works out in my favor most of the time. But, like, you can just put your money in, like, a CD, and you're not really, like, doing anything for society, but you get, like, money back, like 3%. But then, like, a dude can come to your house and, like, clean your car. He's giving up, like, a little bit of his lifespan to clean your car. And you pay him with, like, money that you got for doing nothing. That doesn't seem right, man. I just traded you none of my life for some of yours. That's fucked up. I don't know if there's a fix for it, but I've just traded none of my time for some of your time.
Sometimes people don't understand how much things start to just... If you are modestly competent and you have money, you will just generate money. And once you get to a certain break point, usually around 2 or 3 million, you have... as long as you're not like buying Rolexes every day, you pretty much have infinite money, like just to live. And if you have like 10 million or more, you can buy Rolexes all the time and you will have more money than you started with. It's actually, and it's all default. I mean, at this point, you could just buy you could buy 3 different index funds and then you're done. And then you just put money in there blindly and you'll become a it's that easy. I mean, back in the day, it was harder to do that, you know, before index funds existed, and you had to like actually have some amount of risk. Now it's just like money is printing infinitely and you can borrow against it. There's so many ways to access equity now. Like when you own assets, like you could get loans on anything you own at super low interest. I mean, you could get loans against your boat. You could get loans against cars you own. You could get equity loans against your businesses, or, you know, like mortgages against real estate that you own at super low interest rates. You could get all sorts of secured loans against other forms of capital at super low interest rates. Like it's never been easier to just be rich. I inherited a little bit of money from my dad's passing. My wife blew most of it, but the rest of it is still the fun. They left it in. It literally gets 10% of dividends a year. Here's what I would say about spending. As long as you pay yourself first, if you are somebody who is like making more money than you spend, you need to like save first and then spend on shit. And it seems like such an easy thing to say, but if you actually exercise that discipline, you will be much better off financially. And it's very hard not to do that. Or very hard to do that, especially when you get into like the upper middle class trap. Once you're in the upper middle class trap and you're no longer living check to check, your discipline will determine how financially stable you get. Now, if you're not in the upper middle class region, then the number one thing that you could do is form a union, because bitch, you're not saving out of that. Is 70 a year any good? Do you have a pension? Do you have like other benefits? Like, are you in a union job that like has like a pension and like good healthcare and like shit like that? If yes, yes. If no, depends where you live. All right. This is a video from Majority Report that they dropped that I wanted to talk to you guys about, because It's funny because the
Ari Melber
majority report is now copying the things that I said 6 months ago before the election. Isn't that interesting?
Had Hakeem Jeffries on and asked him about Zohran Mamdani and asked him if it's a good thing for the party because we now have the official numbers. Zohran got the most votes in the history of New York City mayoral primaries. And he did that by turning out parts of the electorate that were disaffected, that didn't engage in politics maybe as a high propensity voter. These are the kinds of voters that Democrats have lost over the years.
Alienated actively.
And right, with the suburban Republican strategy. And so there's a lot of consultants and wealthy Democrats and Democratic leadership that's their constituency. Like Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer need to hang their hat, and particularly Schumer, because he's the one that was a big part of spearheading this. Their constituency is now like what they have cultivated, which are upper middle class suburban Republicans versus what Mamdani did, which is creating a working class coalition, despite what you'll hear printed as fact in papers. Mamdani won voters really starting at around 55K to 150K. And once the wealthier donors started to vote, that's the voters that Cuomo won. But it's still being framed as it's like, oh, the well-educated white liberals carried him over the finish line. And there's in part truth that Brooklyn showed out a lot, parts of Manhattan showed out a lot, but that's not the story. It's just not what happened. This is the kind of thing that should be replicated across the country. And what's fascinating is I think that you see some Democratic aligned pundits or whatever, they're starting to see that this is an issue that the leadership of the party is more focused seemingly on tamping down this energy that the party so desperately needs than they are combating Republicans effectively. And here is Melber asking kind of point blank of Hakeem Jeffries why they're not more enthusiastic. This is the thing, they're getting young people involved. You're supposed to care about that. This was apparently the problem, but not like this.
Mamdani came out of nowhere with less money, less fame, beat the Democratic establishment, beat Mario Cuomo, I should say Andrew Cuomo, son of Mario Cuomo, known in New York. Is that a good thing for the Democratic Party?
Well, he ran a tremendous race. He outworked the opposition. He out-communicated the opposition. He out-organized the opposition. And I think one of the things that was key about what he was able to do is that he ran directly at the issue of affordability. Across every age demographic, it's the number one issue in the city of New York. Now, he articulated a very provocative platform in that regard. I look forward to sitting down and talking to him about his plans to actually implement that platform to deal with some of the challenges that the communities that I face are dealing with in terms of gentrification.
Gentrification, he says. Yep. He gave a quote, his staffer gave a quote, and we read this yesterday, it got me pretty heated on CNN, where they called his coalition Team Gentrification because Jeffries, his district, it went to Mamdani. Instead of embracing the presumptive nominee of the Democratic Party who won his district, he's saying this to MSNBC, a more liberal audience, and then having his top political staffer say to CNN disparaging remarks about the movement on the other end. And then the quote that is so notable in this article is that they basically threaten the DSA members with primary challenges in the body of the piece. Leader Hakeem Jeffries is focused on taking back the House from the MAGA extremists. By the way,
I was going to be on Majority Report today. Seems like a W week for them. They're getting their analysis is converging towards me, which is nice to see.
No Republicans there. This is Sam's the bee in his bonnet that they're calling them this focus tested thing from a consultant as opposed to saying it's the Republicans. The MAGA extremists who ripped healthcare away from millions of Americans, Jeffrey's senior advisor Andre Richardson told CNN. However, if Team Gentrification wants a primary fight, our response will be forceful and unrelenting. We will teach them and all their incumbents a painful lesson on June 23rd, 2026. You mean like the painful lesson that Zohran just taught the Democratic establishment by winning by 12 points.
Yeah, I don't know if Farah Sufran Forrest is part of team gentrification, according to Jeffries or not, but she tweeted this out. Weird threat to make, since Hakeem already went after Jabari Brisport and I. How'd that go for him again? 2022 primary results. Brisport, 70%. Farah got 67%. If leader wants another public beatdown, he knows where to find him. These are empty, idle threats from these folks. Bring it on. Cannot shy away from this sort of thing. Absolutely not.
Brisport would be a formidable primary challenge to Hakeem Jeffries.
Right. Also,
I think Jamal should. I would love to see Bridgeport, Jabari Brisport run against Hakeem Jeffries. Like Jabari he actually started out in the Green Party, and he had the best Green Party race in like New York City history, or one of the top races. Like he got like 30% of the vote as a Green Party person. And then he decided to run as a Democrat, and he won the primary, and obviously he won the election. So I would absolutely love to see him challenging Hakeem Jeffries. And I think we should absolutely go after every member of leadership that we can. 100,000%.
Love the idea that like they go after them for like I guess like Mamdani or Brisport or any of these left-wing politicians or people who run for office, and the thing they automatically go at them for is their voter base is gentrifiers. Gentrification is the issue here. The funny thing is, like Mamdani, one of his policies would help. Very much so. They talk. Jeffrey's talking about the affordability thing that he ran on and what Mamdani ran on and won. The freezing the rent for rent-stabilized apartments. Those aren't gentrifiers living in those apartments.
Mike, I think you'll love this video. Hold on, guys. We already saw this 10 times. We already saw this. In fact, we saw it on like election night.
Living, lifelong New Yorkers or people who've lived in New York for a very long time.
It's their audio chat.
Who have rent-stabilized apartments for the most part. Yet these guys always bring up that as, that's not going to.
That's actually one of the main things that rent stabilization and rent control does, is it keeps people who would be priced out of communities in the community that they're from. That's what rent control does, and it's been studied extensively in Austria, and the result has been keeping people in communities that have high amenities. That's how you keep a social mix. Because if you don't have rent stabilization, if you don't have social and public housing, then neighborhoods with high amenities will get bid up, and then it will just be rich people. That's how you get ghettos. If you want to have social cohesion, if you want to have integration by income, you need to have social housing, you need public housing, and you need rent stabilization policies.
Help. That's not going to help. We don't want him to do that. It's amazing that like the thing that would actually help the non-gentrifiers, these New York natives, such as myself, for example, they go after those policies that help those people, but then knock the gentrifiers, claiming that they're the ones who will really be the ones to help the native, lifelong New Yorkers. It's amazing.
But no, it's even worse than that. And you're making great points. It's just they're stoking divisions within the electorate by calling other people gentrifiers, as if this is like an active choice by people who are getting priced out of Manhattan to displace black and brown communities. This is a systemic problem that Mamdani is addressing, and they're like, for all of his talk about affordability, he's trying to pit New Yorkers against one another to cement his hold on power. And I think that's really gross, to be honest.
It is, and it's all in service of serving the same political donors that are ultimately underpinning both parties right now. Because I think what we're seeing in the very targeted, very venomous antagonism from, the left, right, and not left, but like the center left, liberal aligned media apparatus, as well as
there is no center left in America. They're not even center left. Honestly, you should not. You want to know who's center left? Mamdani, AOC. That's center left. The centrist Democrats aren't center left. They're center, barely. I would honestly call them conservative, to be honest. They want to make policies that'll make this country more right wing. Xi Jinping, that's center left.
New York Post and more conservative media, is that for both parties, but I think especially the Democratic Party, Mamdani represents a threat, not to the Democratic Party itself as an institution, but to the current establishment, the current, people who are in charge and want to be taking money from billionaires. And I think we can see from their behavior so far, their plan for the midterms and their plans for the next general election is to just let Trump basically have his way with the American people, with the American economy, make life as bad as possible while they make as few concrete promises as possible, because they want to be able to coast in on anti-Republican ideology. They want to be able to coast in just based on not being Trump, and they never want to be responsible for actively trying to uplift people's lives in a comprehensive way. And that's what Mamdani's doing. And he's, teaching people that they might demand more from the Democratic Party.
Exactly. Right. All right, let's,
And displacement.
Go back like
and a whole host
10
of other
seconds. Yeah. Sorry.
Provocative platform in that regard. I look forward to sitting down and talking to him about his plans to actually implement that platform to deal with some of the challenges that the communities that I face are dealing with in terms of gentrification and displacement.
Somebody said, is Castro... Honestly, Castro wanted to be center-left. And the United States of America was so brutal against Cuba being center-left that he was forced into the far left because it was the only way to survive. He wanted to be center-left. He wanted to be, a social democrat. But he was forced to become far-left by the United States trying to constantly kill his ass. That's what's really funny.
He just won those communities massively in the mayoral primary, big guy. But go ahead.
A whole host of other issues that I would normally talk about with any Democratic nominee, and certainly we'll talk about with our particular Democratic nominee in the context of the mayoral race. I think one of the things that we'll continue to try to do at the national level is to lean in aggressively to Donald Trump's failure to address the high cost of living. He promised to lower costs on day one. Costs aren't going down, going up. Inflation is on the way up. Life remains far too expensive for the American people.
I got to tell you,
want to do something about it.
Respectfully, I see the pivot. You're good at this. That's how you got this job. But then I got to rephrase the question. You're not ready yet to say whether it's a good thing. You want to meet with him. You want to kick the tires. At this juncture, you're not ready to say that this turnout, this energy that he tapped in New York is good for the party yet.
Oh, no.
I mean, this is one of the things that's so funny about these fucking scum and why they are complete pieces of shit and totally worthless in every way is they have no apps. They have no positive program. The reason why Bernie Sanders was popular is not because he was sexy and hot. It's not because he was all that charismatic or even that good of a speaker. It's because his policy ideas resonated with people and that he is authentic. People thought, oh, this motherfucker really hates the same shit that is hurting me. And he had a compelling narrative. That is why people like Bernie Sanders. They did not like Bernie Sanders because of his vibes, okay? Other than authenticity and his anger. These motherfuckers don't believe in anything. If you do not believe in anything, you should not be involved in politics. Go do sports. Pick up a different hobby. If you have no political view other than I like Democrat, shut the fuck up and go away.
Interviewed Congressman Ro Khanna recently, who's been advocating for the Democratic Party to be the anti-war party. He said that the party has become hawkish, in his opinion. Is this an opportunity for Democrats to move more in that direction?
No. And I think Ro Khanna is wrong.
Okay.
The fact is, foreign policy isn't that easy. You can't just say, I'm against all conflicts, because they're all going to be against America's interest or against global interest.
What do you say to the I've interviewed Congressman Ro Khanna.
Guys, there's no way to work with these people. Like, I'm sorry, if you are Sam Cedar and you're like, oh yeah, Senator Shaheen, we got to work with her. She's a fucking demon from hell. Like, what are you talking about? What war is currently being fought that is in America's interests? None. And when I say America's interests, I don't mean the evil class of hyper-capitalists that dominate the West. I'm talking about regular Americans. That's what I say when I say American interest. That's not what they mean. That's why Americans could be murdered in Israel and they don't raise a fucking peep, because it's not about American citizens. It's not about American people. It's about the capitalist, international capitalist class's interests and trying to contain and prevent an alternative. That's what she's talking about. Her class.
Congressman Ro Khanna recently.
Just say, I'm against all
scum.
Well, listen, I mean, I think that when you can increase the electorate, particularly as it relates to parts of the electorate that came out in significant numbers, which include the South Asian community in many parts of New York City, and certainly younger folks under the age of 39 in New York City, that is absolutely a good thing. And of course, he should be credited with pulling off that kind of campaign that reached so many folks.
But the tension here, if I'm hearing some possible tension, is, as you know, the Democratic Party has had a hard time with some of these, whatever you call them, democratic socialists, insurgents, more liberal, energetic candidates, even when they do what you just referred to. So we have a history here from Bernie Sanders, some of the way the AOC or members of the squad were treated, and now some of the apparent reaction where people are wondering, is there room in the tent? Not saying that I mean, you have a lot more power than him, not saying you would endorse the whole platform, but when his platform is affordability, ideas around democratic socialism, raising the tax rate in the city of New York, free buses, a different type of foreign policy, if we simplify, but much more harshly critical of the Israeli government, say, than I think the congressional leaders have been in terms of approaching the entire conflict. Is there room in the Big Ten of the Democratic Party for that right now, or for you is that TBD?
Well, certainly we're a Big Tent party, and I think what I'll say in terms of the House Democratic Caucus family is that every single member of the House Democratic Caucus, from Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez all the way to Representative Jared Golden and everyone in between, progressives, New Dems, and Blue Dogs, we in the House, we represent the gorgeous mosaic of the American people. That's a good thing. Now, I think what we have to do is make sure that we can more intimately communicate with the American people, that we understand their challenges and their...
I can't.
Yeah.
Ari Melber, you know, so he's an MSNBC host, and his politics seem like good, but not, I mean, not Mehdi Hassan or maybe even Joy Reid or something, like people that had been on the show before, or on the network before. But that was like, you can tell he's uncomfortable with how they're scuttling this energy. Like, it's a gift right in front of them, and they won't take it. And it's because of corruption. And I don't know if this has ever been clearer to the public. And also, like, at the beginning of the interview, he goes, I want to know how he's going to implement this. Dude, Bill de Blasio froze the rent multiple times. Mamdani can do that easily.
It's incompetent that you don't know already.
Yeah, and in terms of funding... Yeah, in terms of funding,
why should the U.S. pull back all its troops if a socialist would? Should they spread socialism using our reach for good instead of capitalism? You cannot impose. We're not going to be able to impose it from the outside, number one. Number two, the institutions that support the American empire are institutionally opposed to left-wing policy. American spies going around and assassinating trade union leaders one day are not going to turn around and start supporting socialist organizing. In fact, what America needs to do is, not only do we need to pull these people back, we need to surround the CIA with the 82nd Airborne and start shelling until there's nothing left. We need to publish every knock list to the World Wide Web. We need to reveal every confidential informant. We need to reveal every single CIA agent. We need to burn every single intelligence asset we have publicly. That is what we need to do. And then we need to go and we need to do a Truth and Reconciliation Commission where we go through the history of American intervention, the history of American intelligence services, covert operations, and we prosecute the ever-loving fuck out of these people. And for the 10,000 or so most dangerous spies and agents, they should be arrested and prosecuted to the fullest extent of international law in The Hague. The United States of America needs a thoroughgoing dismantling of our security and intelligence apparatus. That is what an actual socialist would do. The idea that the U.S. is going to like go around doing good things is exceptionalist insanity.
What he's trying to do, like the free bus.
That's a far left position. I just articulated to you a far left position. Does that position exist on the political spectrum? No, it does not. So I would like to compromise and say, bring the troops home.
Thing, it's because he's been very clear, raising the corporate tax rate from around 7% to what it is across the river in New Jersey, which is 11 and change. That can be done if Hochul or whoever's, if Delgado ends up winning that primary, whoever's governor, that's what they're going to have to agree to, although maybe actually it would be the next fiscal year, so it would still be Hochul, I should say. That's a question for Kathy Hochul, because all she has to do is basically say, okay, I'm going to work with the mayor and not try to undercut him and make sure that his promises are fulfilled. That's not a question for Zohran. That's a question for Kathy Hochul, but he would never ask that because this is just a way to smear him as unrealistic. And what happened to vote blue no matter who, huh? The Democratic Party voters overwhelmingly by 12 points made Zohran their nominee, and you have the leaders of the party undercutting him, and it says everything.
Let's take a look at the comments to this video just very briefly. The top comments: we need new leadership in the Democratic Party, says the first. Hakeem, quote, Trump is bad is not the answer, you gotta do something else. Next person: I'm sick of the Dem solution, just wait till the next election. How did that work out? Next person: held out high hopes for Hakeem Jeffries but find him woefully uninspiring as Schumer, who I don't find inspiring at all. And then just another one: y'all are going to have to get rid of AIPAC if you want that big tent to work. Exactly. You cannot include AIPAC. And that's a lot of Democrats. I mean, majority, I would think. We have to primary all of them. Anybody who has taken Israel money is not going to be good on any of this stuff. It's clear as day.
Yeah, I mean, I think this also lays bare how, flawed the thinking that Democratic Party politicians don't know what's popular is. They see what's popular, they know what's popular, and they actively resist it. They actively are antagonistic to it. And when Mamdani wins, they're going to be fighting tooth and nail behind the scenes to make sure his agenda is as impeded as possible, while on the front end using him to fundraise around the country. That's going to be like their exact strategy.
Yeah. That's exactly right. And what's fascinating is to see Melber asking a question that I think is way more connected to the base than anything Hakeem Jeffries is saying. We played that clip of her name is Jennifer Welch. Yeah, thanks, Brian. Yeah.
Man, honestly, oh God, I debated Sam Cedar in 2020. I want to see if I could find a clip, because I want you to understand that it is so funny to see this now. It's so funny. Let me see if I can find this. I posted it on my subreddit. Let me see if I can find. I want to just show you what I've been saying. YouGov has Jeffries' approval at 24%, a record low for him, nearly matching Schumer's at 21%. Jesus Christ. Thanks, Jules. That's a good link. Thanks, man. You keep bringing me bangers, dude. After watching Caroline stream last night, you're right, Mike. I see it now. Who's in the who's Caroline's biggest fan? Does she have like a fan account? I gotta figure out. I want to start a Draft Caroline movement. It's gonna be super funny because it's gonna work. I'm her biggest fan. Nah, I'm just someone who knows how to recruit candidates. I can feel when somebody wants to be a politician. I can feel it in my bones. What seat is she going to run for? Who cares? As long as you live in a state, you can run in any district. As long as you live in the state, you can run for any district. But you have to move there after you win. Are you sure that's not the arthritis setting in? I have no, currently, knock on wood, problems.
Yeah, right. Yesterday. And I've seen their podcast before. They do good work, but they're fairly mainstream. Get people to vote for Democrats. I don't know if they would consider themselves socialists, right? But them basically being extremely critical of leadership in a way that I'm hearing from people who are lifelong Democrats who did not like Bernie Sanders, Hillary people, Biden people, whatever. I don't know. We need new leadership. These old people have to go. It may not be ideological for them, but they sense it too.
The Democrats for years now have been telling their base that Donald Trump and the Republican Party under Trump is an existential threat to democracy and everything that, the liberal base loves about America. And then Trump wins and they're just like, well, I guess Trumpism is the new thing now, and they even capitulate to them on a number of issues, immigration being one of them, and then just expect their base to go along with it. They've created same thing we were talking about earlier with the Republican Party creating a monster with their base wanting to go after all these supposed pedophiles and pedophile rings out there. The Democratic Party has created the monster with their base by telling them that Trump was a threat to democracy in this country, which is actually true. But the Democratic Party wants to now just go along with some parts of Trumpism and just give up. And the base is like, are you kidding me? So, in that sense, they created a monster with their own base too. But at least the Democratic base, the monster they created there is based in a reality and are angry about something real and substantial.
This graph here from Owen Winter.
We showed this yesterday.
But just look at how, first of all, Mamdani extremely close with lower income working people to an incumbent with the massive name recognition of Cuomo. And then,
by the way, this isn't over yet. This vote share by median income, this is with Lander in there. If we just do a Cuomo versus Mamdani, we'll be able to tell. I think it was something like 75 to 85% of Lander's voters went to Mamdani, not Cuomo. So if you add them to Mamdani, he's actually ahead. He will actually be ahead or tied. Cuomo was actually only super popular with the very, very rich. Just registered Congress, nice.
Middle income, and then that lead loses out to Cuomo. Yep. I mean, this is their worst nightmare. It is that somebody can get both of those folks, the professionals that are typically Lander. They helped out there, especially that's the coalition that Dem leadership doesn't want to see, is sort of professional liberals and more working class social democrat type folks.
By the way, that's actually how when leftism wins. That's exactly how leftism wins in history. Leftism wins in history when the people that are working class but educated or who operate the levers of state, so like middle income professionals, intellectual types, when they ally and form permanent coalition with the working class, they have power over the entire economy, state and private. And that's when they win. That's the nightmare alliance. It's only when you can divide those into two separate coalitions that the right can win. So when you have these professionals, well-educated people, bureaucrats, doctors, things like that, when they're allying with the working class, society will not function and the left will win concessions every time.
That they're terrified of it.
Brad Lander, he can do whatever he wants to do. He's setting himself up to be Mamdani's number 2 if he wins. But if he chooses to take his politics national, I will canvass for this man across my district in New York 10 if he primaries Dan Goldman. And we should be seeing this in a variety of different districts, including Hakeem Jeffries' district. It was Jabari Brisport, right? That we were showing earlier in terms of
Ben Farah, yeah.
That's the crossover with his district. That would be great. He should primary him too.
And just one final point on Lander. I've said this before, but he's the model that he showed, I think, is even more important than Zohran, because I think Chiose, Jabari, Dem socialists have charismatic people.
Right.
It's progressive, the sort of institutional progressivism that needs to be the link to really empower that and not stabbed in the back, frankly. And Lander played his role perfectly. And then you see how formidable that is when that doesn't get divided based on that side of the coalition deciding that we can't play ball with this farther left stuff.
And that's the other thing that I think we need to also focus on from a national perspective is how do we get these matching fund systems in other parts of the country? Because part of why Zohran he's a phenomenal candidate and as charismatic as hell, and has great instincts and knows how to message and campaign and all of that. But part of why he was able to get over the finish line is that when you have these matching funds and he met that goal and then got the millions that was able to get his word out, it creates this positive momentum that gets people on board who would have otherwise been disengaged because they thought this is not even possible for him to win. So much of what is terrifying to the Democratic establishment right now is that it's now been shown, whether it's AOC or other members of the squad or Zohran, no, this kind of politics is possible. And once you win, it's an it creates this inevitability that people it's an energy people want to be a part of. And if there's more of these matching funds to combat the influx of corporate money in other cities, municipalities, districts, and states around the country, this is how we try to claw back the explosion of dark money in our politics after Citizens United. And I hope that other folks, and it's not in ranked choice too, that's a big part of it. But for me, I think even more, well, no, ranked choice is a big part of it because Lander. The
reason why ranked choice is part of it because it creates coalitional politics in the left. And it creates a situation where we break free of personalities, which is where liberalism thrives. And it starts being about coalitions and parties and ideas. And people start they start to realize, oh, if I don't win this, I can get other advantage. And it creates the idea of collectivization and drawing together as opposed to ripping each other's throats out. That's why it's good. Promotes intelligent politics on the left.
That was instrumental to his act of solidarity. So ranked choice, but I would say even more importantly, the matching fund thing across the country is
exactly. Without ranked choice, there's no incentive for Lander to do what he did. But because of ranked choice, the interests of Lander coincided with the interests of the larger movement. That's a good system. A system is effective when it aligns the interest of the agent with the interest of for whom the agent is working. That's called, agent alignment. That is a good system. Systems that operate well make sure that the agents of the system have the same interests in accomplishing the goals of the system itself.
And organizers maybe should take away from this.
One final thing. This just reminds me of the way Zohran needs to enter the system is when Trump came out. So before the RNC in 2016, there was all this talk of there's going to be a coup and Ted Cruz is going to do something like that. And Trump's going to speak on the last day, but what's going to happen before then? So Trump comes out on the very first night and does this.
Because usually they hide the nominee until the final night,
exactly,
right?
But he puts it to bed. This is what Zohran, and I think Zohran's doing this, but I just want to play this moment.
I'm muted.
So you know what song's played, and he comes out with this silhouette here, and says, "Actually, Daddy's home."
Here, wait, I'll play a little sound effect. There he is. There he is.
Yeah, what's up?
All right. Yeah, Zohran needs to do that for sure.
Just a shot-for-shot remake of that, please.
But they do have something in common in that they can make simplistic policy brands like resonate. I mean, build the wall was a joke, but that's what he was saying over and over. Freeze the rent, build the wall.
These party establishments are alienated from their bases, and that is an opportunity. And I think, ultimately, I saw Giannis talk about, we have to be very careful because the Democratic Party elites are never going to actually give in, and they will prefer Trump and the Republicans winning to this. They will split the coalition intentionally to keep people like Zohran out of power, and we have to keep that in mind. And I think figure out a way to be strong and just ice them out of the paint and get them out of here, whether it's somehow doing this to capture all the parties nationwide, or it is to build up an apparatus that's so big that the DNC becomes irrelevant.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. We can get excited about Zohran, but I'm more inspired by this.
Hey folks, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and check out our daily show. We do it every day at 12 p.m. Eastern for about 2.5 hours. We even take phone calls. You should check that out.
Alrighty. It's good to see that, now that we don't have an election happening, suddenly the quality of the analysis on the majority report can rise, which is really gratifying to see. They're not doing their, we got to pretend Democrats are good. So that's good. I love that. I love to see that. It's good this is why I like Majority Report. I could kind of consider Majority Report to be a good barometer on how the left is doing. The left is operating pretty weakly. The Majority Report is going to be like, you got to vote for any Democrat. Democrats are good. But right now that the left has momentum, they can actually start, supporting policies and politics that are actually going to effectuate some change. Nice open presence. Get your ass on MR. You got to ask them to bring me on. I can't force myself on to MR. If you want me on MR, you have to tell Sam Cedar to bring me on. That's it. Bring me on a Friday. That would be great. Wait, did you see this, Mike?
So somebody just walked up on Ethan Klein on Rodeo Drive and got him to say "Free Palestine," which is something that he never says, as well as "From the river to the sea." If you don't know why that's significant, he was on a campaign for a while saying "From the river to the sea" is a terrorist slogan and was even pressing one of his own employees about it.
Well, I mean, Ethan Klein is a coward, right? Like, of course he's going to say, when somebody actually goes up to him and says, hey, support Free Palestine, of course he's immediately going to back down. Like, he's tough on the internet behind 8 levels of walls in a gated community in Bel Air with $9 million mansion, $9 million mansion with that nice pool in the backyard. You guys know what I'm talking about. I mean, he knows. Badempanada says this guy is such a meek little bitch that the second he's face to face with somebody, completely dials back everything he's ever said and says "From the river to the sea," a slogan he's claimed is a call to genocide dozens of times. Does anyone have a clip of him saying that?
She doesn't know what it means, but it means the end of Israel.
But I actually need to say that this is not a good post to "From the river to the sea" literally is saying that we need all of Israel must be ours.
Palestine. Free Palestine?
Yeah.
From the river to the sea?
Yeah.
Bolivia probably doesn't even know what "From the river to the sea" reference means.
Probably.
It means the Jewish people will probably die.
So which is it, Ethan? Are you advocating for the dissolution of Israel and the people inside of it? Obviously not. What you're doing is walking back a claim at the slightest pushback, a claim that got so many people arrested, so many people deported just for protesting a G-side. And you were standing right by that. Now, what this person did to Ethan, accosting and pressing him in public, is bad. Don't do that. That's weird. And I'm not surprised because the account that did it is Dating and Money 101, who is an anti-Semitic person. It's also associated with the account PNN. Don't follow either of those creators.
Oh, okay. Those guys are weird and unhinged. I've seen those accounts before. Those people are weird and unhinged. That makes sense. That guy is a horrible, dumb account. He just goes up to random people and yells at them to say "Free Palestine" when they're at dinner and shit. That guy's a fucking weirdo. That being said, if somebody is out on a public street and you ask them a question, as long as you're not harassing them, stalking them, or following them, you're allowed to do that to a public figure. That being said, I don't want to encourage anybody to stalk anybody or follow them around or do anything uncomfortable. If somebody says fuck off, respect them and fuck off. But saying, hey, say "Free Palestine," I mean, it is what it is. There's nothing wrong with that.
Even though they were pressing
this guy
Ethan,
is cool as
they're
hell,
bad
though.
people. However, Ethan Klein knows that person is an anti-Semite because he was pressing Hassan about that same exact person during their debate, saying that, hey, Hassan, you attract those type of people, and that's why you're bad, and that's why you do anti-Semitic content. Lo and behold, he to make himself look good, he posts this video on the story and says, "My good friend, Dating and Money 101, ats the account," and platforms him and links people to that account. And the video is just hilarious because Ela keeps on saying, oh no, Ethan didn't vote for Netanyahu, he voted against him, but
He voted against him.
But she never says we didn't vote for Netanyahu, and that makes sense because she was in the IDF and illegally occupying territory in Palestine. And then when Ethan is asked "From the river to the sea," do you agree with that? He says yes. Ela, you can hear her in the background, she says no.
To the sea?
Yeah. All in all, Ethan contradicting himself is not surprising, of course. Him making a bunch of statements that would definitely hurt pro-Palestinian movements when he's pressed in public, walking it back, is not surprising. It's just exemplary of Ethan Klein's behavior. He doesn't stand on anything. People are going to say that, he didn't hurt the pro-Palestinian movement. Oh, Uma, you're being overdramatic. The fact of the matter is that he has a gigantic platform, millions, was on...
I would say that Ethan Klein is probably the most prominent Zionist in the internet. Who's a more prominent Zionist on the internet? Who's makes it their content every single day? CNN? No, that's an institution. I'm talking about individual content creator. Ben Shapiro is falling off like crazy. He's certainly in the top 10. Asmongold is too much of a pussy to say he's pro-Israel. Asmongold actually claims, like Ethan Klein, to be pro-Palestine because they're too fucking cucked to stand on their business. The one time Asmongold actually said what he thinks, which is he supports the genocide of Palestinians, he had to do a groveling apology like the little bitch-ass coward he is.
What's our audience breakdown? Let's see. Oh my God. Is this real? Yo. Girly Pop Nation. Holy shit. GB Cat, thank you for the tier 1. Oh my God. I'm actually shocked at these numbers. I haven't looked at these in a while. Okay, for reference, I think the Yards audience breakdown, they've said it before. It's like 85% men, 15% women. Maybe even worse than that. Maybe like 90-10. Our male audience is 52%. Female, 45%. Almost half of our audience is women.
Cootie says this is better than the whine about it ratio. Left-wing politics keep winning. Incredible. Incredible. Whine about it is 70% male according to QT. Oh no, Cutie. Oh no.
Irishness has taken a revolutionary turn in the cultural landscape, and it's not just an influx of hot people wearing clatter rings and Pelador ganzis because Paul Mescal got popped rocking gas shorts. This new development is rooted in something far deeper than Depop. This is about Kneecap and the return to the party in leftist politics.
I really, you know what? I need to get myself a Celtic jersey. I need to get myself some of this Irish drip. 100p. 100p.
Politicized and stripped of all radical analysis, Irishness on the world stage became a tale of cups of tea, tato, and drinking yourself to death on a bar stool, shamrock washing the colonial memory, lulling all revolutionary potentials. Still groggy from the socialist dreams of James Connolly, we replaced our dark history of struggle and resistance with heritage sites and river dance and a gift shop where you can buy cute little leprechaun stickers. As victims of a bloody colonial empire that brutalized, raped, and pillaged the land, we were told to shake it off and turn our Irishness into a brand deal, into a tax haven for foreign direct investments, to blunt ourselves to the sharp parts, to heal our dark hearts, and become the non-offensive butt of a joke that doesn't upset our slave masters. So we became storytellers, but only telling stories that were pre-approved and didn't have any enemies. We were told to assimilate, to lose the culture and keep the costume. Maggie Thatcher is watching you. Kneecap have put the resistance back into politics, awakening a new energy on the left, one that's rooted in power rather than victimhood, that doesn't celebrate victory and defeat or get trapped in a comments section with nowhere to go. Showing solidarity for Palestinian struggle, organising and calling out warmongers who want to cancel the Belfast BAP, we can glimpse a new horizon on the right side of history where a future finally feels possible, and nationalism isn't a means of exclusion when you can see yourself in someone else's eyes. Kneecap marked a return to subaltern rage and protest, invoking insurgency in young people everywhere, an antidote to the end stage of identity politics, an uprising based on shared struggle rather than what side of the wall you were born on. So we use our voice, our language, to stand up for our neighbours on the other side of the globe. Because without our words, our silence is complicity, and power is unchallenged, and genocide is sanctioned, and dissent is subdued, and our past becomes their present, with no lessons or lectures, just bodies. So this new Irishness is a refusal to be the punchline in a Paddy Irishman joke, a postcard in an American's dream, placated by points and pacified by post-colonial revisionist histories. We were told to smile and say thank you, so we smiled through occupation, through the penal laws and plantations, through famine, through genocide, and now our smile is gone and our teeth are clenched, and we look to Palestine because we know empire when we see it. And when the elite try to paint your grief as graffiti and your resistance as barbarism, we remember how long Ireland took to dig up its own bodies.
What a king. What a fucking king. FBI Deputy Director Dan Bongino took day off work after White House clash with AG Pam Bondi over her handling of the Jeffrey Epstein files. Holy shit. I mean, it's pretty clear that everybody who knows the Epstein files knows that Donald Trump is on it. Like, Donald Trump is on some videos. Like, that's why they're doing this. Like, if there was any way to make Donald Trump free and clear, they would. But because he's enmeshed in it and he's on some of the tapes, they know they can't release them. That's all this is. By the way, chat, if you want to see what I just watched, I just retweeted it. Go on to my Twitter. And then, chat, a lot of people like Jon Stewart. I do not. I have never, and I'll be honest, no, that's not true. I think I used to like Jon Stewart in like 2014. I like Jon Stewart in like 2014. But I've never, like, other than that, I was never a fan. And I certainly am not a fan now. You still have me blocked? What'd you do?
So in the wake of Zohran Mamdani's Democratic primary victory, you've got a number of establishment Democrats
That being said, Jon Stewart is finally starting to stand up to the establishment. Maybe, possibly, perhaps. I think I told someone to off themselves. You shouldn't break TOS like that.
Sweat a little bit about a potential primary challenge from the left. Hakeem Jeffries was asked about this possibility for himself on CNN. Let's take a listen to what he had to say.
I have no idea what these people are talking about. We are going to continue to focus our efforts as we did on the House floor in connection with Donald Trump's one big ugly bill. Split up.
Boring.
You know why they're targeting you. Oh, no, I'm not. Say you don't know.
Of the New York.
Oh, we haven't watched this clip yet. Okay, chat. Look at the way Republicans are rallying around Richie Torres. Surprise, surprise.
City delegation, that the problem is Donald Trump and House Republicans.
Are you being honest when you say you don't know why they're targeting you? You know why they're targeting you.
Oh no, I'm not. I know why they're targeting me.
You know why they're targeting
you. But I don't care that they're targeting.
Well, so why don't you say it? You know why they're targeting you.
I think they're targeting me because I'm pro-Israel.
That's 100%.
Yeah, that's the issue.
So are you saying they're targeting you and all of these other individuals? You've got Clark, Hakeem Jeffries, and
I think I am specifically targeted because of my position on Israel.
And by the way, he's been courageous on this issue, and he's had a backbone, and he has stood up to the wacko radicals in his party on this, and he deserves all the credit in the world for it. But that's why he's on the list, because these people have a burning hatred for Israel. It's one of their main pieces of their platform, and that's why they put him on the list, and it's terrible.
So starting there with Hakeem Jeffries and then to Richie Torres, who starts looking very uncomfortable as Scott Jennings starts singing his praise on CNN. And I mean, look, these people, they should be afraid right now because the Democratic base, in a way I have never seen before, they are disgusted with the Hakeem Jeffries of the world. And you know what? On Israel, listen, most people are not going to be voting on Israel and Gaza. Correct. However, this is beginning to be a sort of like gatekeeping litmus test issue within the Democratic primary base, because it's an indication of, are you going to fight? Are you willing to stand up for things that are different? Are you willing to stand up against moneyed interests? And do you have any like core principles do you have basic humanity and any basic values that we can rely on? So yes, the fact that Richie Torres, who represents one of the poorer districts in the country, has spent so much time fixated on supporting a foreign country rather than trying to help out his own constituents in his own district, yeah, that is going to make you a target for a primary. And I very much suspect that he is going to face one. I think Hakeem Jeffries could as well. And I think both of them could potentially be very vulnerable here, specifically because of the way that the Democratic base has shifted in their view of their own establishment leaders.
Yeah, that's actually the important point. The important point is that it's not about Israel per se. Although, you know, Ryan put this very eloquently yesterday about Epstein, and I think Israel has now become one of this. If you just repeat Epstein killed himself or any sort of establishment thing, people's baseline, it's not that they're voting on Epstein. They're like, yeah, I don't trust this guy. They're like, this guy is captured. And if you talk about Israel and they're like, our strongest allies, the most moral army in the world, people are like, I don't know about this. That's kind of how I think it has become. Nobody's voting on it. They're just like, that becomes an entree point through which you can assess what people think about all of these other things. That's how I would put it. And so to see Hakeem Jeffries then also fumble it in just such an immense way, both in terms of the way he's handled the bill, in the way that he handles the entire like opposition to Trump, in the way that the Democratic Party really wants, you are absolutely ripe for a major takeover. The question is like, what form does that take? I mean, you can correct me if I'm wrong. Isn't Jeffries like? I mean, most of these districts, they're like heavily gerrymandered. It's gonna be pretty tough to actually get yourself a real primary. That would
No, you could get a real primary.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure.
Richie Torres's. I have to look at Hakeem Jeffries. Richie Torres's district in particular, Zohran won.
Right.
And I think he won Hakeem Jeffries' district as well.
Okay.
But I'd have to double check on that one. And I know he won Dan Goldman's district, which is like a lower Manhattan district as well. So I don't know if you've followed this. Richie Torres, since Zohran's victory, man, has he done a 180. He stopped Israel posting. He'll only occasionally now post about Israel, whereas previously it was like every other tweet is about Israel, you know. He put up this video that he quickly took down because I think it was such an embarrassing attempted copy of what Zohran was doing, like the man on the street thing. Yeah. And he's just getting like ripped apart, so he deleted it. He has gone to bat for Zohran in the context of saying this, you know, these Islamophobic attacks on him are unacceptable. So
John Fetterman is simply doing... John Fetterman has been rejected by the left, and we hate his guts now. He got into power cynically co-opting the left, and after his stroke caused massive brain damage, he went to the right, and that makes sense. Being a right-winger is a fear-based position. Conservatives are afraid. That's all you need to know about a conservative. If somebody is conservative, they're fearful. They're frightened. And so his brain stopped working so good, did a lot of damage. And so he started to pivot right, especially on Israel. And
so I released a video about the death.
Can people please try to keep their YouTube videos under a half hour? I swear to God, it's too much. And so now he's going right wing. And since he's been rejected by the left, he has to try to find a base, and he's just continuing to go right. I actually think John Fetterman will switch parties. I actually think John Fetterman will eventually switch parties because he's too much of an egomaniac to want to leave office, and he has a 0% chance of winning the primary. So I think he's going to switch parties, and I think it's going to happen during the presidential election.
Definitely recognizes that he has an
Badempanada. We might watch a clip next.
Issue, and that he has a vulnerability. Hakeem Jeffries, I mean, he's like so riskless that it's astonishing. He is the biggest black hole of charisma I think I've ever seen in my entire life. I was watching his appearance on The View the other day just to see if there was like anything interesting there that we might want to cover. And the way he talks, he does all these like disconnected hand motions while he's talking that you can clearly see some consultant was like, this is the way to like punch up your presentation, and you need to be more, you
know, you're allowed to get advice, but be good at acting. Like if you decide like I'm going to do this certain type of thing because I feel like it is, you know, likable, being good at that is important.
To like, you need to enunciate more. You need to use your hands. You need to be more energetic. And it just comes off like he's like a traffic cop
It's called being stilted. He is stilted. It's the perfect word to explain him. Of a manner of talking or writing, stiff and self-conscious or unnatural. That's what it is. It's stilted. Now you know the word.
Just very robotic. So for Richie Torres, the focus on Israel, he's right. It's a problem for him. It is a problem.
I think increasing your vocabulary is actually quite easy if you do this thing called reading books. I highly recommend reading books.
A huge gulf of a disconnect between where Democratic leadership is and where the Democratic base is on Israel. Yes, that's an issue for you. No doubt about it. For Hakeem Jeffries, the fact that he has become a figure of public mockery across.
My grandparents are MSNBC, CNN libs who are anti-Bernie and now hate Schumer and Jeffries and appreciate Mamdani for being pro-Palestine. Wild shit is happening out there, even to the most propagandized libs. I actually think now is the time to kind of be nice to libs. And when I'm saying be nice to libs, I'm not referring to the politicians. I'm talking about normies. I shouldn't even call them libs because libs means ideology. They don't have one. I think you should be nice to normie people. Not if they're a lib, that means they have an ideology. Don't be nice to those people. Those people you need to mock and piss off and isolate. I'm talking about normal people, okay? Normies or normie Democrat, I think it's fine to be nice to these people, but I want to clarify something. Being nice to someone does not mean you kowtow to them. It doesn't mean that you adopt their views. All right? What that means is you treat them with respect, you're patient, and you have a conversation, and you plant seeds. That is what we should be doing right now. And we should be, I think for a lot of people, the left has been really pissed off. And I'm a very angry person when it comes to American politics because of how dog shit the Democrats are. And it pisses me off because it's unjustifiable when it's like, if you actually look at the evidence, what they're doing has no support. So they're doing it for corrupt reasons. And that pisses me off. Stupidity pisses me off more than anything. If somebody could explain why they did something and show that it was logical based on what they knew at the time, I don't get mad at that. I go, okay, well, that made sense at the time. Turns out there was something you didn't know. And so now what are you going to do? And if the person takes in the new information and it's like, okay, I'm going to do this instead, and they keep operating to the best of their ability, logically and justifiably, I will never be mad at that. That's not what the Democrats do. The Democrats ignore reality and they force us down a path, and then they try to bonk people on the head with threats. That's the Democratic Party is extremely authoritarian. Extremely top down. So we're in the period when those people are super discredited and they have no juice. So now is the time for us to convert as many people to our side as possible. Now is our time to go out to regular people, not liberal ideologues, but regular people. Don't focus on the dumb fucks. Shit on them, mock them, make fun of them, show how stupid they are. But like with regular people, now is the time to open the tent for those people and teach them. Now, we still gatekeep. We still say, but we gatekeep in ways where we're winning, right? Like we have the average normie Democrat is against Israel. So you don't have to change any position on Israel. In fact, you could be like, I was there and right about Israel from the beginning. This is why you should believe me. This is why I have credibility. You agree with me. I agree with you. Now is the time to convert those people. And that's actually kind of been my strategy on TikTok. And I'm going to be doing that a lot. Like Mike TikTok is going to be nicer. I don't know how long it's going to last, but I'm going to be making like more positive arguments that you could share with people on TikTok for the most part. I'm going to be nicer. My Contrapoints thing is generally what I mean. That's what it's going to look like. I'm going to try to avoid calling people dumb pieces of shit and stuff like that on TikTok because it seems like TikTok doesn't like that. Mike, you need to be on TikTok live with libs like Harry. I absolutely despise Harry Sisson. I consider him my personal enemy. I consider Harry Sisson to be my enemy. I hope I never meet him. If I do, it'll be uncomfortable for him. But like normal people or Olivia Juliana or any of those people are my enemy. Deja Fox or whatever the fuck. Those scum deserve nothing but just this ridicule and hatred.
I got to be honest, when I first saw that New York nominated a Muslim socialist to be the Democratic nominee for the New York City mayor,
I can't watch this type of shit, guys. I cannot watch this type of shit. I'm not dumb enough for this. I'm sorry. This is an IQ test. I don't like fake shit. I don't like fake shit. I don't like Reddit shit. This is Reddit. Basically, if you wanted to be a successful Redditor, what you would do is you would take a mundane picture and then you would write some tearjerker bullshit pandering title. That was the Reddit strats. And that's what this is. Republican mom, watch this character arc. Hands, blue emoji. Like this is literally bullshit manipulation and dishonest. This is a character. It's fake. I don't like this type of content. I think it sucks shit. It's corny, and also it insults people's intelligence who are actually capable of discernment. I really do not like it. I really do not like it. I think it sucks ass. Maybe I'm being autistic. I don't like it. The fact that it has 150,000 likes makes me dislike it more. But I'll watch it. I'll watch it. I'll gut it out. You tell me if I'm crazy.
My very first thought was, this is what you get when the country elects a lunatic like Trump swinging so far to the right. You're going to overcorrect, swinging way too far to the left. But when I started actually listening to him, he's making a lot of sense.
All right, another thing that pisses me off. Democratic socialism is not communism, alert signal. Anti-communism is fascism. If somebody is spending their time doing a whole bunch of anti-communism shit, they suck. Shut the fuck up. Just explain what... I mean, he doesn't even do that. Like, when they ask him if he's a communist, he's like, no, and then he moves on. He doesn't go like, communism is bad. Wah! That is punching. That's anti-communism. That's falling into the Red Scare bullshit. You're adopting the conservative frame. Don't do that ever.
And I don't think he's socialist when we think, oh, paranoia, communism. It's not that at all. He's looking at actual issues that are facing New York City, which is the most unaffordable city in America to live in. Like, rather than give $60 million to the big grocery store chains, there's a lot of empty space in New York. So he's going to spend half as much, but give that money to local grocers where they won't have to pay rent, they won't have to pay taxes, and they can actually provide lower cost groceries to the local community. And buses, free. Well, most buses are ridden by working people that have lower income. So, like, nobody rides the bus because they want to. That's not a luxury. He wants to freeze spiraling rent costs. He wants to take over properties that are not being properly maintained by the landlords. Like, he really wants to do things for his constituents that will have a meaningful, immediate impact. He's only 33 years old, so he's not yet in anybody's pocket, and he's not afraid. He wants to raise minimum wage to $30 an hour, which seems like an outrageous amount of money, but it's New York City. And that's $30 an hour is about $65,000 a year. People who work in the service industry shouldn't have to commute 2 hours because they cannot afford to live anywhere in the city.
P.S. I blue-pilled my lifelong Republican mom in 2017. Now she's more progressive than me. I just don't like this type of content. I don't like this type of shit. This is the equivalent of, this is to progressives what the fifth column was, which is, I want to show you a wine mom who likes leftism, right? It's like, I don't like that kind of shit. I think it's so like annoying. It's annoying to me. I just want people to make arguments and not have to do this posturing about how I used to be a Republican. I just dislike it so fucking much, but maybe I'm crazy for that.
That they are working in. Frankly, I don't give a shit what party you belong to or what color your skin is. I don't give a shit if you're a freaking Martian. I care about what your policies are and what you're...
I'm not a fan. I mean, it's not that the content wasn't that bad. It was better than I thought. It really was better than I thought. I just hate that, like, Republican mom, democratic socialism is not... I just don't like that. I just don't like it. It's not for me. It's not for me. Mike, if you type, when is John Fetterman into Google, the first result is an encouraging sign. Yes, I'm sure. Also, what you type into Google predicts based off of your history. So, you know, just... I hate the content, but really, reality is those videos break through for the people that Zohran needs. Are you sure? Are you sure? Here's what I would say. I don't believe in politics that's like, there's some other idiot out there who we need to trick. If you have a politics like that, that's the right-wing pipeline. Here's what I believe for politics. Argue for what you believe is morally right and is good public policy, and treat people like adults and that you respect them. I don't like a politics that's like, I'm going to trick people because they're stupid out there and they need to be tricked. Like, anytime you start thinking like that, you're on a bad path. You mentioned Deja Fox earlier. I was wondering what's wrong with her. She's not a progressive. She is a right-wing Democrat primarying somebody from who's to her left. So I don't support right-wing primaries.
Oh, they would find so much on your phone.
All my AI John Fetterman porn.
Oh my god, bro.
Yeah. Did I show you it?
AI John Fetterman porn? You didn't show me John Fetterman. You showed me the other stuff. Don't show this stuff. Please don't.
You don't want to see it, man? John Fetterman?
That's crazy! Oh, that one's... He looks good on that one.
He looks good in this one, yeah.
Yeah.
Bruh.
What the
Yo!
Stop.
I got a bunch.
Yo, that's wild! Wait, that's just it. Oh, and this is... Okay. No.
Oh,
shit!
No, guys, don't do that. AI porn of other people is very fucked up. Don't do that. And they obviously, they don't have any AI porn. It's just a bit. It's just a bit. They don't have anything there. It's just fake. They're just doing a bit. That's wild. The paparazzi caught John Fetterman in Switzerland. That's crazy. Hassan's private photographer. Oh, God. Brace is exactly the type of unhinged that I like. Speaking of exactly the type of unhinged that's not actually unhinged, let's watch a clip. I think the conclusion is what I wanted to share with you guys, and maybe we'll watch more. Ethan is so stupid and useless that even using his Zionist propaganda as a launch point to discuss issues of actual importance is a waste of time at this point.
There was a point where I thought like responding to Ethan Klein could be useful as some sort of teaching moment. And for a time it was. You know, he was spreading very generic, like low IQ, pro-Israel talking points, and that gave me a good platform to talk about said talking points, to refute them. The thing is though, when you refute Ethan Klein, he doesn't respond to your refutation. He just starts defaming you. He just starts attacking you personally. He just starts making up shit about you. And there's only so many times that you can respond to someone like that before it just becomes a shitfest. Because when he's not adapting his political arguments that he's already been refuted on, you know, when he's not at least trying to make a counter argument, what is there to talk about? What is there to do aside from to just throw insults back and forth? And it took me too long to realize that. There's no more teaching moments involving Ethan Klein. He does not adapt his arguments. They are so generic. They have been dealt with a million times before by basically everyone at this point. There's really nothing left there. And the fact that Ethan Klein is even in such a position like this, where he gets enough attention that he can actually influence people politically to support a genocide, is absolutely insane. He has no merit whatsoever. There's not a single talent-having bone in this guy's body. Even if you asked Ethan Klein himself, hey, what is it about you that makes you so special? What is it about you that you think you're really good at? The guy would struggle to give you an answer because he's not good at anything. He doesn't deserve this position that he's in the slightest. He basically just got lucky by being in the right place at the right time on YouTube when just uploading literally anything with any level of consistency made you famous. So that we are responding to this idiot's political takes in the first time is stupid as hell. What a waste of time this has all been, aside from just the first couple of times that we did it. Unlike Ethan Klein, I make original content. For me, if I'm in a personal feud with someone, I do actually have to move past it once it's spent on its potential worth to what my channel is actually about, which is politics, history, things that matter. Ethan Klein, on the other hand, all of his content is just attacking people who don't like him. It's him whining about some criticism that he got. At best, if he talks about something aside from just like people who don't like him on the internet, it's like some celebrity gossip, which is still him talking about other people in their personal lives. So for his content to function, he needs these sorts of never-ending feuds. It's the only way that he can keep creating his podcast while putting in the least effort possible. Because Ethan Klein is fundamentally an incredibly lazy, uncreative, unfunny person whose idea of humor is whatever the fuck this is.
Apparently, it was communicated that he was reading women's feminist books on how to please a woman. That's funny.
I've never seen less chemistry in my life than between Ethan Klein and his wife. Her reaction to his tattoo was fucking legendary, dude. I love it.
So what does he have aside from just endlessly causing and relitigating drama with the same people over and over again? Nothing. Absolutely fucking nothing. So he wants this to go on literally forever. But the rest of us who actually produce original content on things that matter, we don't. So unlike Ethan Klein, I'm not going to be making content about him for literally the rest of my life. The whole reason I even got into the figure of Ethan Klein in the first place was not because he's Ethan Klein. I don't care about Ethan Klein, aside from, you know, the fact that he has been spreading genocide propaganda and the fact that he has literally maliciously defamed me and he's gotten people to stalk me in real life and he has dedicated a not insignificant portion of his spare time to doxing and harassing me in a coordinated Discord server. But, you know, aside from all of that, what else is there left with Ethan Klein? There's fuck all. Unless he plans to make some sort of new argument for once, that there is some sort of value to refuting, there's just no point in at all addressing him. It's a habitual and chronic liar who had terrible political opinions, who got refuted on the basis of those political opinions, and then subsequently formed a psychosexual attachment to his former podcast host, and now has been doing nothing but attacking people who he views as attached to that former podcast host for like a year and a half at least now? Is it longer? I honestly don't know the time frame. It wasn't there at the beginning. But Jesus, like all of this got started Basically just because Ethan Klein tried to get a couple of Twitch streamers who are pro-Palestine deplatformed on phantom anti-Semitism allegations that he invented just because they are linked to Hassan Piker, because they're like his friends or his moderators or something. That is just fucking pathetic, man. What is wrong with you? Hassan Piker can't be your life, Ethan. You need a hobby. You need something else. You are visibly unwell. Like, you're slurring your words. You seem like someone who's in early stage dementia.
They're literally self-snitching in the DMs. You know, I offered amnesty. Now, I'm not going to say if somebody took it, but I will say that I am learning a lot of interesting things.
I've gone back and watched some of Ethan Klein's original content, his supposed H3H3 reaction classics, and they're really bad. They're just not good content, but I mean, I can at least see why some people like them. What the fuck is he doing now? I doubt the people who watch him now are watching him for much that has anything to do with why his original audience watched him, which is that they supposedly found him funny. He's just a guy complaining about criticism endlessly for like 3 hours every podcast. Like what, 2 or 3 times a week? And the metrics aren't working out for him. Clearly the people don't like it. And clearly his audience has been replaced with a dwindling audience of people who are there for entirely different reasons. Like, you know, they hate Hassan Piker or they love Israel. And he's just such an absurd narcissist. He's honestly baffling. There's nothing that this guy is good at. And that he has such a massive ego and is such a massive narcissist given that is just absurd. You critique this guy and he will literally talk about you for 6 fucking months and probably send a private investigator to track you down and like dox all your family members. It's fucking unhinged. And he calls me unhinged. When I act unhinged, I'm actually just playing a character. I'm just playing into Ethan Klein's delusions about me. You know, he frames me as like this wanted international criminal who's like the mastermind behind some sort of like criminal ring on Discord or whatever the fuck it is, honestly. So I play into those delusions. I'm just like, yeah, Ethan, I'm in control of everything. And the guy, like, he buys it. His crew, like, honestly, they seem like deathly afraid of him because they clearly are like, Ethan, that's obviously a joke. Very gently, and Ethan just keeps going on. Like, there was one time Ethan was live, and I sent him an email. The email said, clean your shit. I sent it to him like just in the hopes that he would read it live. And Ethan reads the email live. The email that said, clean your shit. The most juvenile playground sort of insult imaginable. He reads the email that says, clean your shit. Like, firstly, why would you read that live? But he nonetheless did. And he says, is that a threat?
He sent me an email just right now. I sent you a picture. He said, or not right now. Let's see. When did he send? He sent it at 8:50 a.m. He says, clean your shit, don't eat it. Which I don't know is a threat or if he's just making a I think that's good advice.
Oh, Ethan, you're not okay. You need help. You desperately need assistance. You are a huge piece of shit in regards to the propaganda that you spread regarding Israel-Palestine. Make no mistake. But even in spite of that, you're clearly not happy. You're clearly not having fun. You're clearly not enjoying this, even though you're pretending that you are. You're just so narcissistic, so self-obsessed, so sociopathic that you've dug yourself into a hole that you feel like you have no way out of. Then by just obsessing over this until the end of time, you're hating every second of this. You hate what you are and you hate what you have become. It is just deeply pathetic and sad that you are this rich. You could be doing literally anything with your money. You could be doing so much good as well. And this is what you choose to do with your time. Just obsessing over criticism that you receive on the internet because of your political beliefs. I'd feel sorry for you, but you don't deserve any sympathy because in the course of doing this, you have victimized so many other people via doxing, harassment, threats.
Michael, developing Michael Mayer. Oh, chat, by the way. Love you, Mike. My friend Mike from PA Cliff said you reacted to my TikTok on stream. Crazy that such an important leftist voice knows who I am. That's true. I'm very important. Speaking of how important I am, chat, we have a hype train going on. We need a gifted sub stat. Holy fuck. If you enjoy this content, please consider supporting it by subscribing. No. Yes. Wait. We continued it. Okay. Yes. Woo. Okay, chat. We are 3 hours into the stream. I forgot to shill. My stupid fucking subscription goal bar is broken. I don't know why. It pisses, like, this is bullshit. So I don't know how many subs I've got today. I need you to support the stream. If you enjoy this content, please consider supporting it by subscribing. Ham and Fist, thank you for the 20 tier 1s. You are Hassan is the top streamer, but you and BE mainly took over the OG bread tubers. I mean, I have no supporters on YouTube. I a couple years ago, I made a video about debunking COVID-19 like anti-vax shit, and YouTube put a community guideline strike on my account because I included the clips of what I was debunking, and they said I was spreading COVID misinformation. So I think we deleted that video, right? Redditors, if we didn't, please go back and delete that entire fucking shit. Kind of ate my algorithm, which is pretty shit. Unfortunate. It is what it is. YouTube is also designed to promote right-wing voices over the left. It's very, very hard. Remember when you made a video about Bo and BreadTube got mad at you? Oh, is that true? My guess is that was just Voshites and Destiny orbiters. You know what I mean? Like, everything that I've done, like, I don't delete the shit that I did because I was right. Like, every single time people tried to fuck with me, I was right. I rarely get on YouTube, but if I do, I always stop to like my clips. Thank you. Anyway, so I'm starting to use TikTok now, chat. So if you're a TikToker and you think I'm an important leftist voice, promote me on TikTok. Right now, chat, we are at 11,722 subs. 11,722 paid subscribers. Dangerously close. Remember, chat, during the hype train, the top sub gifter and the top bit donor get the hype train conductor badge next to their name. That's a golden locomotive you get to keep permanently. And the most, Mike, your hair is majestic, by the way, reposted your TikTok. Well, thank you. I was never a D or V guy, but I got a little mad at you, but I was wrong. Oh yeah? What were you mad at me about? Go ahead and explain your thinking. This will be funny. What were you mad about? And by the way, I'm not trying to bully you. I'm legitimately curious. This is not a bully session. I thought you were doing leftist infighting. Leftist infighting is when you call out a human trafficker. Yikes. Alan Dershowitz just detonated a legal hand grenade on live TV. I know for a fact Epstein documents are being suppressed to protect individuals. I know the names. I know who's suppressing them. But a judge's order silences me. Hand to God. Alan Dershowitz.
That would prove I was innocent. So let me tell you, I know for a fact documents are being suppressed. And they're being suppressed to protect individuals. I know the names of the individuals. I know why they're being suppressed. I know who's suppressing them. But I'm bound by confidentiality from a judge and cases, and I can't disclose what I know. But I hand to God, I know the names of people whose files are being suppressed in order to protect them. Every document would prove I was innocent.
Basically, Dershowitz is one of the few people that people definitively believe sexually took advantage of underage girls with Epstein. He talks about how he got a massage, but his underwear remained on. And he's probably one of Israel's biggest genocide defenders and has been for years. So I'm guessing he's pissed off that his name has been dragged through the mud through his Jeffrey Epstein connections, while everybody else is getting their shit suppressed. Let the scumbags fight! All right, let's finish the Badempanada conclusion.
Literally stalking in my case, and now lawsuits. Ethan is suing free streamers Dems, Caseytron, and Frogan for reacting to his Content Nuke Hassan video. Two of them, by the way, are literally in the video. Of course, he's doing this because of his obsession with Hassan, just because they are like Hassan's friends or like they like Hassan. And you know, the reason why he chose them is because he knows that they are small streamers, they don't have a lot of money, so he can bully them. He would never do that to Hassan, who does actually have the money to defend himself in the broken American court system, where you have to spend like $100,000 just to defend yourself from frivolous bullshit. As a part of his lawsuit against these people, Ethan Klein hired private investigators to stalk them in real life, track them down, and find out their personal information, which previously had never been released to the public. That is, where they live and their real names. He then released legal documents regarding his filings against them, which included the information about them that he had doxed, such as their real names, intentionally and knowingly putting them in danger of real-life attacks from his obsessive fans, who he has already...
By the way, he doesn't have... Can I just say something? Ethan Klein does not have obsessive fans. Ethan Klein does not have obsessive fans. He has nobody. All right? If you are getting harassed from the Ethan Klein shit, you are being harassed by right-wing content creators who are just opportunistically joining in against left-wingers or misogynist freak extreme, slop tubers. It is not Ethan Klein fans, Destiny fans, maybe Asmongold fans, maybe like other lol count content creators have these fans. It is not Ethan Klein. Ethan Klein is rizless. He is juiceless. He's got nothing. 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 Literally nothing. So, and he knows that, by the way, which is why he does this. Why he does this is because he is boosting this shit to stalking communities. Ethan Klein has absolutely no shooters, which is why it's very important that you subscribe to my channel. Because every time you subscribe to my channel, you piss off Ethan Klein. Because they did like a fundraiser, and I think they only got like, didn't they do like a subathon stream? How many subs did they get at their subathon stream?
Mike from PA, to me, is a full-on grifter. One day, I'm going to do a video on this guy. He is the most pathetic dipshit on all of Twitch. And just to show you how easy this grift is, this guy is like relatively successful. And he is like not talented. He is vile. And he is cringe as fuck. What's his average view count?
Probably like a couple K.
Couple K?
Does he really get a couple K?
Nice. And somehow he still succeeded.
You know?
He has 7,000 members or something. Every time I see that number, I'm like, whoa. I'm happy to say that his sub count is getting lower.
Is it?
Yeah, I mean, it's closer to 8,000 before. I mean, every time I look, he has between 7,000 and 8,000 paying members, which is pretty disturbing, but it is what it is.
Like, I gotta be honest, every single time you subscribe, every gifted sub, every tier 3 sub, every prime, every bit, drives Ethan Klein and the Zionist Wild. You're pissing off Ethan Klein. You're pissing off Destiny. You're pissing off Asmongold. You're pissing off Tectone. You're pissing off all the scum of the earth every time you sub. Honest, I don't even notice when Ethan Klein talks about me. I legitimately don't notice. Somebody has to tell me.
Mike from PA. 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 Mike from PA.
Mike from PA.
Mike from PA. Mike from.
Mike, what do you think of Haas? I'll talk about it in a minute.
Yeah, Mike from PA. Mike from PA.
Mike from PA.
Mike from PA. Mike from PA to.
There, he's trying to punch down on you, but you're quickly becoming his equal. I mean, that's not true. I'm not anywhere near his equal yet. But he's certainly falling off. He's certainly falling off. You have to understand, he's one of the OG YouTubers. He's one of the OG YouTubers. He's got, you know, he was promoted by YouTube. Well, he was like one of the first people to truly like be promoted by YouTube, be promoted by Reddit. Like he won the lottery ticket early. Like that's just the reality. Like I'm nowhere near that kind of promotion or access that he does. He's definitely punching down on me. And like this, if you want to understand how much these people think about me, I want you to look at this. Every time you subscribe, you are directly causing Ethan Klein to have psychic damage. And notice though, he thinks about me a lot, but he doesn't try to come up with any actual points. This is more of what you see on his channel.
But I can't speak for the internet. The internet might actually blame you guys for it.
She's gonna leave Ian and like, okay, no, I'm not gonna get into all that. They get so weird about it. She's gonna make a joke about her dating Mike from PA next or something, but that's not good. It's kind of funny. I wasn't gonna make the joke. I'm just gonna say something like that. Which even compared to Ian would be a big step down. You know, stinky ass breath loser. Anissa.
Ethan Klein and I are the same age. And he looks fucking 20 years older than me. And if it wasn't for GLP-1, he would be 80 pounds heavier than me. But I think we're probably similar in weight at this point. What's Ethan weigh these days?
Let's see here. So here she is clarifying.
But like, what a weird fucking thing to say. Anissa's gonna leave Ian. Like, what the fuck is this guy talking about? You are the most divorced dad motherfucker I've ever seen. Disintegrating before our very eyes.
Riled up into a massive misogynistic hate spree against these people. If anyone else was acting in the way that Ethan Klein is doing here...
Have you already watched FD Signifier's video on Zohran? No, I haven't, and I'm not going to.
entire YouTube community would have denounced them a long time ago. But because it's Ethan Klein, supposed YouTube royalty, and because of who he's targeting and what his beliefs are, i.e. Hassan Piker, a large streamer who is left-wing, and because he supports Israel, which, you know, is the default position in Western society, what he's doing here is largely being ignored by many of the people who would normally cover something like this, and also supported by all of the worst right-wing YouTubers imaginable.
Don't trash the weight loss drugs. They do legit help you. I think that if you want to take GLP-1s or any kind of weight loss drug, you absolutely should do it 100,000%. I don't care about how you achieve your goals for a healthy life. I just care that you achieve them, and I'm happy for you. And if that's what works, you should 100,000% do it, and there's no shame at all. However, Ethan Klein uses GLP-1, and then he calls other people fat. And once you do that, if you were yourself obese before you got on GLP-1, and then you start throwing around insults on people's body, I'm going to match the energy. I'm not going to sit here and go high while this motherfucker goes low. He goes low, I'll go lower. So I don't need you to come in here and defend Ethan Klein or Contrapoints or Destiny or Vosh. They are the scum of the fucking earth. They are ontologically evil. So I'm going to match their energy. And I suggest you do the same. Now, I'm not going to just throw out mean attacks on randos. That would be absurd. I'm not a scumbag like they are. But for those scumbags, reciprocation. I believe in the iterative prisoner's dilemma of grudger, which is basically I cooperate and I'm friendly with people that are cooperative and friendly with me. But if you fuck us up, if you attack us, we will betray your ass until you are a fucking greasy stain.
Also would usually be against something like this, except
FD is not bad. As much as I generally disagree with his takes on electoral issues, he's right in saying white leftists need to shut the fuck up sometimes and maybe lose to some of the issues black folks have. Guys, I'm just gonna say I'm not watching that video, and I'm also not gonna discuss it. Some videos are not good, but also they're not good in such a way that there's no way that I as a person can really engage with them without falling into a rad lib trap, and I'm simply just not gonna do that. If you want to know what I think on this issue, I did a discussion with the This Is Revolution podcast. It's on my YouTube channel. I highly check it out. It's with two black leftists, and we talk about politics in cities and what's going on. And the difference between some of the other content creators online and me is that I've actually organized in cities, in minority communities, and I'm a white man, so it's not my position to talk on black people's business. But I also want to steer you toward the people that actually are approaching it from a revolutionary left-wing perspective, and they could talk about, you know, internal black politics in a thoughtful way that isn't just repeating internet rad lib Tumblr shit, but actually substantive. So that's my general take on that.
in this case, they're willing to support it just because Ethan Klein is going after the left-wing people and the pro-Palestine people who they also hate. It is totally and utterly pathetic. So if there is something that I want to result from me finally wasting my time on this worthless video the most, it is to drive some donations towards the GoFundMe of Ethan's 3 new victims, Dems, Caseytron, and Frogan. The links are on the screen and they will also be linked in the description and the pinned comment. If you have something that you can spare to them, please go and do so. No one should be sued by a rich loser for reacting to and criticizing his own shit reaction content. Anyway, so to end this video in the most apt possible way, I'd just like to play again the clip of Ethan Klein sexually harassing a teenage victim of a terrorist attack.
Okay, we're not going to watch that, and we may watch more clips from this, but I just wanted to watch the conclusion and just get you guys, recommend that you, make sure you have the bell turned on and you're subscribed. Hell, become a member of Badempanada, one of the most important content creators on the internet, just past 200,000 subscribers. Congratulations, Badempanada. Bread tube is over. Empanada tube is in. That's another comment. Bread tube is over. Empanada tube. Empanada has begun. I can type, I swear. All right. That's what I'm here for. Holy shit. I love him so much, man. I love him so much. How do I explain it? Like, I've said this before, but he's my political id. In the sense that everything that he says, I think at some point. And a lot of it will not, you know, we all have filters, right? We all have second, like when we think something, we don't immediately say it. Hopefully you don't. Sometimes I do. Badempanada is like, he says what needs to be said. And when I disagree with him, it is, I'm in my cerebral cortex. It's some acidic shit. It's some like tactical shit. But his instincts on people have been pretty right on. Yesterday you said bees to your left. I must have misspoke. Richie Torres is a gay POC whose single mother raised him and his siblings in public housing. He dropped out of college and worked his way to become a congressman. But none of that matters to leftists because he doesn't support the Palestinian Omni cause. It's because, yes, that's correct. If you support genocide in Gaza, I think you're a bad person. That's correct. I don't care what your race is, your gender, your sexuality. I don't care if you were raised in a fucking orphanage. If you support genocide of children, you're a piece of shit. Oh yeah, chat, don't forget to go watch my TikToks and follow me on TikTok. I almost have passed 5,000 followers, chat. We're only 51 followers short of 5,000. Let's go. And I have posted, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 times. Well, I mean, 11 of these are posts that I made. Pretty good. Pretty good. Pretty good. Pretty good. Oh, I love this thumbnail. Contrapoints has blocked you. Yo, that thumbnail is a... Oh, man, that thumbnail is a banger. Hila Klein propositioned Hassan Piker for sex and he denied her. That is the origin of the dispute. Now, I don't know how I like this tweet. It must have been a misclick. I don't know if this is true. I don't know that this is true. I think this is just Badempanada being... he's being provocative. I think she said that... What I know is Hila Klein said that Hassan is hot. I think she said that Hassan is hot. I don't think she ever propositioned him for sex, as far as I know. I mean, it could have happened, but I just think she said he was hot, right? Anyway, misclicks. They happen, chat. Let's go make fun of Hakeem Jeffries some more. Has Badempanada ever lied to us? My main thing about Badempanada is he hates Americans. And you know what? Valid. That being said, I am an American, so... I disagree. I actually think there is a lot of good people in America. They're just disorganized. And yeah, a lot of us are fat, slobby treatlerites. Hell, maybe even me. I'm going to try to make things better. You know, I want to prove him wrong on that. But at this point, he's largely right. You know what I mean? It's like, that's how I feel about it.
Across the board with your most normie possible liberal Democrats for his inability and unwillingness to fight Trump in any real meaningful way and how absolutely pathetic he's been in this moment. Yes, that makes him vulnerable too. Jon Stewart actually was taking shots at him over his like insanely cringe, pathetic posting around the One Big Beautiful Bill. Let's go ahead and take a look a little bit at what Jon Stewart had to say.
But at least Democrats still have Hakeem Jeffries over in the House. He's a younger leader, and he decided not to answer with words, but with imagery.
Hakeem Jeffries on Instagram. He's got a baseball bat, and he says House Democrats will keep the pressure on Trump's one big ugly bill.
Hakeem Jeffries answered with imagery that sends a clear message to Republicans that Hakeem Jeffries and the Democrats are waiting for their moms to pick them up from T-ball.
Yeah, just absolutely pathetic. So
Did you
here's
keep the sneakers in that too.
Oh my God. Yeah,
it's
the
a
whole
lesson.
thing.
Stop dressing like shit.
Stewart also made a good point of like, don't you know that if you want to look intimidating, the angle is from below, so you look larger, not
exactly
above.
right.
So it shrinks you down and makes
See, he
you
doesn't
look
even
like that
know all
little
these
kid.
basics, and apparently he's been caught using Facetune now multiple times. That is humiliating.
Oh, there was this picture he posted of himself on Instagram where he's like leaning up against the park bench, and you can see very obviously like the park bench is all wavy and manipulated from whatever they were doing to like I don't know, make his hips smaller or something.
That was my friend Julie Grace.
What are you doing?
Julie Grace, who is a great reporter who I recommend people follow, who spotted the Facetune. So shout out to her. There's also this. This is really fun. Let's put this next one up on the screen about eyeing him for a primary, and they respond: if Team Gentrification wants a primary fight, our response will be forceful and unrelenting. We will teach them and all of their incumbents a painful lesson. So branding them Team Gentrification is, I mean, what is that exactly? It's like the way that they're kind of trying to frame this as Zohran is just like the rich white leftist candidate, and they're like the original residents of New York candidate. But I mean, it doesn't really fit with a lot of the data, that has come out of the primary itself, especially if he's was able to win your district.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. And I mean, it's also rich coming from Hakeem Jeffries, who takes, of course, money from all kinds of like private equity and whatever that are actually doing the gentrification. And from Hakeem Jeffries, who has been a leader in the Democratic Party as it has pivoted to be a richer white college educated party, like that being the center of gravity within the Democratic Party. Let's put C4 up on the screen just to dig into some of these numbers. So first of all, Zohran, now, after all the ranked choice voting, he has now won the largest number of primary votes for a Democratic candidate in New York City of all time. Now, it is a little bit different because this ranked choice voting now wasn't before, blah, blah, blah. But that is still a really significant accomplishment. You don't do that by just winning what they call the commie corridor. He made huge inroads into some of the, hardcore Cuomo base. And now keep this up on the screen. This is polling for if you, if all 5 candidates stay in the race through the general. This is what it ultimately looks like. And you've got Zohran winning, most every constituency. You have him winning white voters, black voters, Latino voters, Asian voters, college educated. Cuomo does beat him among non-college by about 3 points. But you can't look at this and say, oh, this is just wealthy white people gentrifiers. Like, that is a preposterous way of view. He's winning Latino voters by 21 points. And, for all there's been so much analysis about why left-wing candidates struggle with the black Democratic base. What you see from these numbers is, once you're the Democratic nominee, this is a constituency that's primarily loyal to the Democratic Party. They're by and large going to vote for you. So, in any case, any sort of look at the data with, with an unbiased eye shows that this coalition was much broader than the way, certainly, that Hakeem Jeffries is trying to portray it here. And who his base is at this point, Hakeem Jeffries, I don't know. I mean, maybe people in his district have some feeling about him that's different than the national narrative. I'm sure it will not be easy to unseat him, but I'm sure he has to be nervous. And, if he has any sense whatsoever, he has to be nervous because he truly is a primary target. And, last thing here before we get to the I've had it, ladies, it's so crazy to me that you have this guy. You have the Democratic Party doing all this soul searching. Oh my God, how do we appeal to young people again? How do we get the bros back? And how do we get excitement back into this party and make people trust us? Here comes Zohran out of nowhere. People freaking love this guy. They love him. He's a rock star. He's compelling. He understands he's got a message that clearly resonates with people, hit the nail on the head there. And then he also understands the medium of the moment. He is a sort of native TikToker where, it's the vertical video and he's very comfortable in that forum. And this is the way that the public greets this guy on the street at this point. Let's go ahead and play C6.
Yes, that's me, yes. Yeah, we can take one.
I voted somebody that won.
Thank
something.
you.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Yeah, no worries. Thank you. How's it going, guys? Thank you. How you doing, brother? Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thank you, my man. I appreciate you. Thank you.
Can I take one too, man?
Yeah, for sure. Hi. Assalamu alaikum. How are you? I think she's coming. Thank you.
I voted for you. You voted for me.
So here you have this guy who is a true star. And the instinct of the Democratic Party establishment is what can we do to destroy him?
Yeah,
Just
I mean,
tells you so much about the party.
Look, I respect a renegade when they are there, and I can see and recognize somebody who's got genuinely political talent. But that's what makes him vulnerable, because that's ultimately why he was there in the first place. It does look a lot better for him than the initial days. I think he's going to win. I do.
I do too.
I don't think he's. I don't see. I mean, Adams is, it's possible. It's the only possible, but he has a very low approval rating.
People are so delusional about Eric Adams.
Yeah.
Eric Adams has a 20% approval
what I'm
rating in the city of New York.
Right.
It is the lowest mayoral approval in the history of that city. Like, even if, in fact, I actually think Cuomo is probably the stronger candidate against Zohran if you are, you know, in the Bill Ackman camp of like, let's clear out the rest of the field. These guys all hate each other. They're not looking out to get out of the way of one another in order to be able to win. And Sliwa's going to pull his like 18% or whatever of the vote. I mean, I don't know. It's certainly possible they'll be able to take him out, but also, if you look, Zohran has much higher favorability than any of these other candidates, too.
That makes a lot of sense.
He's getting all the union backing at this point.
Yes,
like, there is a consolidation of sort of like those sorts of power bases within the city behind him, which is also going to make him very difficult to beat at this point.
Hey, if you like that video, hit the like button or leave a comment below. It really helps get the show to more people.
And if you'd like to get the full show ad-free and in your inbox every morning, you can sign up at breakingpoints.com.
That's right. Get the full show, help support the future of independent.
Wait a minute. Better Hassan? Better Hassan? They need to do a triple Hassan. Have they made the triple Hassan joke? We need Mehdi Hassan, Hassan Abi, and Hassan Minaj all in the same room. Did they make the triple? Where's Mehdi? They need triple Hassan.
Up, everybody. Hassan Piker here. Shout out to all the Hassan Abis. Today is Friday. It's 85 degrees. We're in New York City. It's a beautiful day. Hope you're having a great Friday over there. It's 1:18 p.m. Eastern Time, 10:18 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Happy Friday.
This motherfucker is in my time slot. What the fuck is this shit? Get the fuck out of my time slot, Hassan. He's encroaching on my fucking time slot. He's coming for my ass. He's like, I see Mike from PA is blowing up. I got to start earlier. Motherfucker's trying to poach my shit. We need a new H3 podcast. Oh my God. What if they did H3 podcast or the real H3? Holy fuck. The real H3 podcast. Yo.
All right, everybody. That was Young Cardamom for the intro.
That was amazing. That was perfect. Almost to a T.
What is up, everybody?
All I know is that with streaming, we all have agreed upon time slots. You're not allowed to just go live when you want. You have to. Motherfuckers. Hassan better not move to New York. I swear to fucking God, he better not move to New York, okay? He better not move to New York, or I'm gonna be pissed. Royally pissed. You know what Hassan needs to do? I'm gonna say what Hassan needs to do. I'm gonna be arrogant enough to say what Hassan needs to do. Hassan needs to recruit people to run for Congress and then have them fundraise on his stream and then tell his fucking viewers to donate. He could probably fundraise once a month. He could drop 100K minimum on a whole bunch of really good fucking people. He could probably raise for like 20 different campaigns. Like, come on, man. Oh shit, I could change my name to Hassan and we could be the H4 podcast. We could be the H4 podcast. I changed my name to Hassan. Okay, I wouldn't be invited. An hour? Chris Kunzler? Oh, an hour? Rookstar, thank you for the tier 1 for 6 months in advance. Let's fucking go. All right, what else did I want to talk about today? Here is something. Okay, so, you know, Contrapoints is a worthless sack of shit and it complete scum. And I just wanted to point this out. These are the types of people that are defending Contra. One thing Israel shows is that Western countries would win a lot more if they were willing to be utterly ruthless. Imagine if the US was willing to go full Israel, unlike Yemen, and just kill everyone. Not saying this is good or bad, but it's interesting. By the way, the US did that in Vietnam and North and Korea, and we lost both times. So it's not like we're not willing to do that, you fucking dumbass. The point is how the left's obsession with Gaza swallowed other activism is so true. Woke 8-year-old. This smells like a Destiny fan. This smells like a Destiny fan. Oh, wait. They might just be a groiper. It stinks. I'm curious. Destiny being dunked on by his own son is just sad. Imagine. Wow, Destiny. Well, I mean, he is. So that's a groiper. Lots of Destiny fandom in there. Oof.
Report Francesca Albanese is called from economy of occupation to economy of genocide. There's no quotes, there's no quotation marks there. The use of the word genocide is still considered controversial in some quarters. Unqualified use of the word genocide, but not by you.
I wouldn't say that I'm the only one who has concluded that Israel has committed acts of genocide. And by the way, as a UN Special Rapporteur on the occupied Palestinian territory, I am mandated by the United Nations to investigate, document the violations of international law committed primarily by Israel in the occupied Palestinian territory and report to the United Nations. So by the time I wrote the first report, Anatomy of a Genocide, in March 2024, already 2 dozens of special rapporteurs, independent human rights experts of the United Nations, had reached the same conclusion. There was a genocide unfolding. And by now, I'm definitely not the only one. Actually, there is an increasing consensus among genocide scholars, historians, genocide historians, including Israeli historians. But in the United Nations, I'm definitely not the only one, because there is the Commission of Inquiry on Israel and Palestine appointed by the Human Rights Council, which before summer, in its last report of 2024 concluded that Israel had committed acts of genocide of imposing measures calculated to prevent birth. And they've confirmed. But in the United Nations...
By the way, chat, Donald Trump and the United States with Democratic support are trying to target her for sanctions under our laws. Treating her like a terrorist, by the way.
Definitely not the only one, because there is the Commission of Inquiry on Israel and Palestine appointed by the Human Rights Council, which before summer... in its last report of 2024 concluded that Israel had committed acts of genocide of imposing measures calculated to prevent birth, and it does continue to document genocidal practices and intent. And so the Committee on Israeli Practices, which is a political body. I mean, they are UN ambassadors based in Geneva. They have concluded that Israel is committing the crime of apartheid and genocide. So definitely not the only one. I would like people to understand what is genocide. This is not a political statement. It's a legal assessment based on the fact if there is an intent to destroy a group as such, through acts of killing, creation of conditions calculated to destroy, or infliction of severe bodily or mental harm, or measures calculated to prevent birth or subtraction of children, which is the only genocidal act that has not been investigated by me or others so far. Even Amnesty International and an increasing number of civil society groups are saying it's genocide. And frankly, coming from the United Nations, from the Human Rights Council, I registered that there is an increasing consensus among diplomats that there is no other way to call it than genocide, because Israel is targeting Palestinians as such. It doesn't matter if they are young or old, if they are doctors or if they are nurses or other civil servants. They're all targeted and all killable, all destroyable. And look at what Gaza has been turned to. These are conditions calculated to destroy.
It is. I wanted to clarify that, because to apply the word to Israel's actions in Gaza is one thing. To apply it to companies, to the complicity of companies that are household names that most people listening to this now will be clients of, or customers of, or users of some of the software, some of the technology. It's it's designed, the report, to land with individuals as much as it is with institutions, so that people will question. I mean, are you accusing customers of complicity?
Look, first of all, again, as a special rapporteur, I have to investigate and state facts and their qualification under international law. I'm not supposed to please, I'm not supposed to accuse, but I'm sharing my findings. And I've not accused anyone in particular. I've exposed that there has been for a long time, for decades, an economy of occupation, meaning private actors enabling or driving or enmeshed with what Israel has made in what remains of Palestine, the Gaza Strip, the West Bank and East Jerusalem, which means displacing the Palestinians and replacing them. So displacing Palestinians and replacing them with settlers, with colonies, with companies producing goods and services, and or developing a tourism industry in the occupied land. This is unlawful. It's unlawful under international humanitarian law, is unlawful under human rights law, is unlawful under the UN Charter. So I could have written this report already years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, because the economy of the occupation has been established. And, for example, arms manufacturers or companies producing bulldozers and other machinery used to destroy and build infrastructure, water and electricity grids or rails and roads, these have profited from an unlawful endeavor. However, in the last 20 months, instead of pulling out in the face of legal developments like genocide proceedings before the ICJ, the ICJ declaring the occupation other than by name an act of aggression, enabling racial segregation and apartheid. Instead of pulling out, they have maintained their commitment and their engagement. And many of them, with knowledge, intent, and purpose, have provided the means for this economy to turn genocidal. What I mean, for example, arms manufacturers have continued to provide weapons, intelligence, technology for Israel to make its weaponry more and more sophisticated and lethal, while costing less and less in terms of risk and life for the Israeli army. Think of the unmanned technology, military technology that has been deployed in Gaza. Think of the F-35 flying in beast mode. Think of the unmanned technology of the quadcopters used to kill people in Gaza or to maim people in Gaza, especially children. Think of the Volvo and Hyundai machinery that has already, and these companies have been put on notice for decades, that they were part of an unlawful endeavor because they've been used by Israel to uproot Palestinian orchards and trees, or to demolish Palestinian homes in the West Bank. Well, they've been now used in Gaza to pulverize homes, the remnants of homes and buildings.
It's an extension of impunity from government to commerce. It's
important to understand that Israeli impunity is really American impunity. Do you get it? Like Israeli impunity is American impunity. That is why they're able to do it. It's not because Israel it has impunity. It's because the United States is the most powerful country, and all these other institutions are connected to the United States. So if the United States of America says something, these institutions rely on the U.S. for their own existence, so they cannot resist. That is what superpower means.
I might be misreading you slightly. Are you surprised that the recent events in Gaza haven't focused the minds or the energies of the companies that you report on more? Because, as you say, it's been going on for decades, but that recent events in Gaza haven't acted as any sort of catalyst to change.
Yeah,
I am reading you right.
No, you're reading me right. I mean, I've been shocked. I've engaged in very troubling investigations, especially since I became a special rapporteur. I've operated in other conflict areas, conflict scenarios. This is something completely different what I've seen as a special rapporteur in the past 3 years. But this investigation has been particularly painful because, there are human beings making decisions. For example, when the CEO of Palantir is asked in a public meeting, but why are you providing Israel with this technology? You know that this is used to kill Palestinians. My family has been killed like that, and you're killing Palestinians. And he says, yes, most probably terrorists. Now, this statement has been made after months and months of genocidal assault, when the genocidal proceedings were ongoing, where criminal proceedings against Israeli leaders were ongoing. And so this is why I say this man has assumed ideologically that Israel was killing terrorists when the statistics were already reporting, and had been reporting from the beginning, that 70% of the victims were women and children. So who are the terrorists that the CEO of Palantir thinks Israel was killing? How does it justify the killing of 70% of the Gaza victims as being women and children?
And I don't know if this is unduly speculative when you talk about him adopting an ideology or believing an ideology. I mean, in commercial terms, they don't have to, do they? They can simply deploy the same cover that Israel has deployed. So Israel's rationale, even with 180,000 Palestinians now killed or injured, Netanyahu's rationale remains, oh no, we take enormous pains not to harm civilians. We are going
10% of the population killed or injured. Minimum.
After terrorists, which many people would say you can see from space that that's not true. But if there are huge sums of money to be made in Gaza and the West Bank, then that provides you with the camouflage that you need to keep doing business.
Absolutely. Camouflage is the term that I've used in my Anatomy of a Genocide report, which is a report that took provided an X-ray of what Israel had been done militarily in Gaza for 5 months, in Gaza and in Gaza alone. And I warned in the international community in March 2024, if this operation goes unpunished, Israel will have been allowed to commit humanitarian camouflage, meaning to capsize, to distort categories of international humanitarian law like evacuation order to justify forced displacement of millions of people, safe zones that have been turned into trap zones or death traps, in fact, or killing civilians, then calling them collateral damage or human shields. This is humanitarian camouflage. And 6 months later, Israel has used the same script to justify an assault on Lebanese civilians, meaning starting military operations without any precautions, distinctions, or any protection of the civilian populations. And this is becoming the new normal, James. It's very disconcerting.
And it's very incremental. I don't know if you came across this when you were studying at SOAS, but we have a figure of speech, boiling a frog. So you turn the temperature up so slowly that the frog doesn't realise until it's too late that it's died. And that seems to me to be what we've been watching for the last nearly 2 years. It's happened incrementally, so there's no point at which the thing you thought might happen would have happened, at which point companies throw their arms up in the air and say, we want nothing more to do with this. Customers are not receiving the information they need to know what they are, by association, helping to support or aiding the complicity. There's no real pivot point.
Yeah. I didn't know this expression of the frog in boiling water,
It's
but
not
I
a
don't
very
think,
nice one.
No, but it's quite vivid and graphic, and I don't think that we are watching. We are living through this.
Yeah.
This is happening to us because, again, look. I mean, I keep on engaging also with people in Italy, but I don't think it would be that different from the British the British people in this country. We are facing our governments escaping engagement with the public. There are masses of people taking the streets and challenges the government. We have people, including in companies, not wanting this anymore. People in Microsoft and in Google working for these companies have been the first to raise the alarm about what was happening. So again, there is a push from within the system to change it. There have been people taking the street challenging both the UK and Italian government for their continuous supplying weapons and maintaining trade agreements with the State of Israel. However, we also keep on seeing a rush to rearm, 5% of the domestic expenditure going into weaponry, while people are needing and asking and are suffering from the cuts in education and health and other essential services. So this is where I think we are the frog in the boiling water.
And something that may help people appreciate the the speed with which is happening, I learned from your report, which is the Tel Aviv Stock Exchange's performance since this began.
Yeah.
I don't want anybody to become inured to the statistics of carnage, of death, but those numbers are familiar to people, even if they hopefully remain shocking. I'm not sure they do. But the idea that the Tel Aviv Stock Exchange has risen by 179% since the assaults upon Gaza began. And that proves your point perfectly, I think.
Yeah, and I have to say, this is something that I have realized very recently when really doing the maths, because
Somebody said, oh, wait, hold on. Oh, wait. Do we finally get a right winger in here? Holy shit, finally. Christ. Oh, my God. Okay. Let's see what he said. He says, I really don't understand the obsession with Israel Palestine that Americans have. So Hitler was good? Why that you should go okay, that's actually a really good question. Where are you from? Hey, man. Hey, I trap rats. Where are you from, man? Hey, where are you from? Who gives a shit about the news? Most Americans don't give a fuck. So you're not American, but you're saying Americans don't care about the news. Okay. Go on. Where are you from, man? Yo, bro, where are you from? America. Here, let me help you.
As Israel stares down its top adversary, Iran, we're stepping back to examine the real numbers behind one of America's longest-standing alliances. Just how much money has the U.S. sent to Israel over the decades, and where is that money going? Joining us now is Rachel O'Brien, Deputy Public Policy Director at OpenTheBooks.com. Rachel, thank you, as always, for being here. Let's start just with that top-line number. How much money has the U.S. given to Israel since really records began?
Yeah, the U.S. has been very generous with its support to Israel for nearly 75 years. So we were able to look back at records since 1951. Americans have given $305.4 billion in foreign aid to Israel. That's adjusted for inflation. So that averages around $4 billion a year since 2004. About 72% of that aid, $222 billion, has gone specifically to aid Israeli defense. So
$300 billion to Israel, and we're paying 70% of Israel's war costs. Now, I'm obsessed about where my tax dollars are going, you stupid fucking scum. I trapped you. You're a fucking rat. I don't want my tax dollars to go to kill kids, you fucking rat fuck. Obsessed. There are hundreds of thousands of Americans living out on the streets. There are potholes everywhere. People cannot afford to live in this country. We don't have health care. They have health care in Israel using our tax dollars. You fucking traitorous swine. That's why I care. Because I want my tax dollars to be spent at home here to help Americans. And I don't want children massacred, you fucking loser.
I didn't need that. I didn't need that to know that what companies have been doing is wrong. Because again, I'm not an economist. I'm just looking at facts from a legal perspective. And companies have a responsibility not to engage, not to be directly linked, not to enable, not to facilitate violations of human rights. All the more when they amount to depriving people of their right of self-determination. And here you have companies, but even the pension fund of Norway, a country which is seen as pro-Palestine, and I hate this terminology, pro-Palestine or pro-Israel, because this is not a football match, for God's sake. This is people's life. And if anyone thinks that the Israelis are thriving in this moment, look at the statistics of how many young Israelis are committing suicide for what they have been doing in the Gaza Strip. This is a breaking point for the Israeli society as well. And when you think that the Norwegian pension funds invest 121 billions in 45 companies that I've investigated, which are a small number because, again, my report is not that contains a list of companies. It's not a duplicate of the database that the UN maintains. It's just the exposure of a system where the companies I mentioned are illustrative across the spectrums, from arms manufacturers to even charities and again pension funds and universities, banks. Everyone has been lending legitimacy and normalizing the abnormal. And even the Norwegian pension fund cannot divest from this unlawful endeavor. This is the situation we live in today, and it must change, and will not change without people knowing. Because if Palestine was a crime, were a crime scene, it would hold the fingerprints of all of us. And this is why it's not about everyone is now can be brought before a court. No, but everyone has the power, for example, as workers, as buyers, as shareholders, has the power to correct and to make this process less engaged in criminal activities.
Zohran's Wikipedia page was the most searched page in all of June. Zohran Mamdani had 6.5 page views. 6.5 million, page views. Bernie Sanders just came out and explained why the phenomenon with Mamdani is happening.
First of all, understand, he's going to have the entire establishment, the oligarchy, the billionaires coming down on his head. Not only because he's demanding that the wealthy and large corporations in New York City start paying their fair share of taxes, they are worried that his campaign is an example of what can happen all over the country when you bring people together to demand a government that works for all of us and not just a few. So they really want to crush this guy. And you have billionaires saying quite openly, we are going to spend as much as it takes to defeat this guy. You have Democratic leadership not refusing to jump on board a campaign where this guy is the Democratic nominee. So most importantly, I'm going to do everything I can to see that Zohran becomes the next mayor of New York. In terms of his policies, look, it is very, very hard to govern a major American city. A lot of problems out there. But I think in
case of multiples, we exterminate every individual.
Which body goes first? One at a time is twice the fun.
You don't look like you're printed out. You're just a person.
It's not your fault.
This is a fight to the death.
The simple fact is, we're in a state of war, and our survival is in the balance.
I got a job to do.
Mickey Bonds, fighting right to the end.
My great gift to mankind.
Are you afraid to die?
This time I wasn't scared.
So we're going to be watching Mickey 17 tonight on the Discord. Let me go ahead and link that in the chat. We do that every Friday at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. Every Friday. We've been doing it for years and years and years. I go to as many as I can. We watching Mickey 17 in the Discord. Make sure you follow all the instructions. If you never use Discord, well, use it for me. And we will provide the movie to you. You don't have to do anything. Just show up. So we'll be watching. I have a lot to say about this movie. There's some things I like, and then I have a lot of critiques as well. So it just came out. I want to say, what was that? 4 or 5 months ago. So we'll come check that out. Wait, Zohran put out a new ad?
In a city with the slowest buses in the country, it's an oasis of quick commutes. That's because in 2019, New York City made this into a busway.
Most of the day, only buses, trucks, and emergency vehicles can travel along 14th Street. Cars making local trips can get to the curb and garages, but they have to turn off at the next available right. The results have been transformative. Bus speeds increased by up to 47%, ridership jumped by 30%, and crashes and injuries have plummeted.
But here on 34th Street, buses crawl at an abysmal 3 miles an hour. That's slower than a tourist walks through Midtown. We love you. Please keep coming to visit New York City. 28,000 daily riders on crosstown buses are trapped by congestion, confusion, and chaos. So the Department of Transportation had a great idea. Let's bring the success of the 14th Street busway here.
It's not a new proposal. Mayor Bloomberg first suggested it in 2008. And this summer, it was supposed to finally happen. 3 community boards voted overwhelmingly in favor. Elected officials are all on board. And then, Eric Adams pulled the plug.
It's a familiar tale under this mayor.
Time and again, he's interfered to delay, water down, or outright cancel street redesign projects that would make moving around our city safer, faster, and more enjoyable.
Why does he do this? Did a donor give him a call? Was he feuding with a local elected official? With Eric Adams? You never really know.
But this mismanagement is a big reason why the mayor is woefully behind on implementing the streets plan passed in 2019. That law mandated the city build at least 150 miles of new protected bus lanes between 2022 and 2026. 30 miles per year.
And what's Adams averaging? Fewer than 8. Speeding up buses isn't complicated. It doesn't cost much. You don't need Albany. All the tools are in the power of City Hall. We just need a mayor who'll deliver for the more than 1 million New Yorkers who ride the bus every day. And that's exactly who I'll be. This is 14th Street.
I think one of the things that's most exciting about Zohran is that he is an administrator. He is a wonk. He is somebody who's down in the weeds, but he's down in the weeds as a leftist, as a socialist. He wants to achieve actual concrete outcomes. He is the sewer socialist mayor that I was been talking about for 5 fucking years. He is exactly what I have been calling for. 13,000 likes in 20 minutes. This is our guy. Well, chat, I'm going to call it a little bit early today. I had my sister in town this whole week. I am fucking fried. I haven't had a moment of rest. I'm dying. So I'm pulling a July summer ducking out of the office an hour early. It is what it is. Thank you guys so much. Oh, I'm going to be posting on TikTok. So don't forget to follow me on TikTok. Engage with all my posts. I'll be posting more and more and more TikToks, especially over the weekend. More content coming on the YouTube channel. More content coming on the TikTok. Thank you so much. I will see you guys, gals, non-binary pals tonight to watch Mickey 17. Thank you so much for all the support. Make sure you do all the things. Nobody wants to work anymore, especially streamers. And remember, chat, free Palestine. And as Ethan Klein says, free Palestine from the river to the sea. And of course, death to the eye.